All right, I'm rolling the road. We got about 5 minutes left in practice.
Good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to LSRTV's coverage of the United Sim Racing Truck Series here from beautiful Daytona Beach, Florida, as we get set to embark on another exciting season of truck racing. Hello, everyone. I'm Andy Kessler, and joining me high atop the grandstands here tonight at the World Center Racing is Ian Plash, and of course, the lovely and talented Cisco Scaramuzza down in the production trailer, getting that picture to you. A new season has come upon us, Ian. We just got through with the United Sim Racing Truck Plow Snow Series, or Snowplow Truck Series, I should call it. And it was a quick little one, a 6-race season, and it saw Dan Murray pick up the season championship on that. But now we get into the full season, a 30-race season, including an all-star race, a chase at the end of it. How important at Daytona for the first race of the season is it to have a solid night here tonight?
Well, this is definitely where you want to be setting down the groundwork for your whole entire season. While you have a bad race for race one, it's not necessarily going to kill your entire season. It's very important that you at least get somewhat of a half-decent finish here at Daytona to possibly set up the ability to finish out the rest of the season strong. And hey, not to mention, there's some pretty cool prizes going on here for the person who's the points leader after 6 races, Andy.
Yeah, they got some pretty cool things all throughout the season with this series, and a pretty cool, neat thing, a new thing at the end of the season. We're going to have a chase type format. Top 12 drivers at the standings when it comes down to that point will be eligible and will be entered into that championship run. A little bit different because winning races now, between now and the season or the chase being started, it doesn't really mean anything. The only thing that's going to mean for you is maximum points, and maximum points put you up closer towards that top 12 in the standings. So for everybody, obviously, a summer series on a Saturday night makes it kind of tough to make every single race. But what they're trying to do is promote, or at least establish, let those guys that can make it the majority of the races be eligible for that championship, whether they want to race or not. So kind of a cool thing, a little bit different. The races, obviously, you got to win. You got to get maximum points if you want an opportunity to get yourself up into that championship talk when it comes down to that point. But first, we got a whole bunch of races to get under our belts, as always. And we talk about some past winners, some big names in this series here tonight. And one of those names that really comes to mind is Jamie Walker. 2 seasons ago, won the championship in decisive fashion. He walked away with that with just an average finish, I believe it was in the 4s, like a 4.2 or something like that as an average finish. It was just absolutely amazing what he was able to do throughout the whole season to come away with that championship. And then, of course, he fell short just by 5 points or 8 points it was to Dan Murray last season during the winter snowplow truck series. So with that said, you look at this field we got here tonight. We got quite an amazing amount of sim racers in here that we see in other series that we broadcast here on iRacing and or on LSRTV, and of course in some other series as well. You got guys like Tyler Herr, you got Steve Gottschalk. We hear that name all the time on RSR on Monday nights here. Tom Dreierling, who races in the Pac Majors series on Sunday nights. It used to be on LSRTV. You got Tim Matthews. You got a whole bunch of names that I see. I look through here. Chris Hurlow, also another one of those guys. Cody Gibson, always obviously the admin of USR. He's always up there when it comes down to it. So the names that we see in here tonight, Ian, there's a whole bunch of them, and it's going to be a fun race. We've seen a lot of Daytona action over the last couple of weeks, and this is pretty much going to end, I believe, speed weeks for the most part.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm saying this, but it comes down to a point where you think you just had just about enough Daytona for a couple of weeks here.
I know I have.
Yeah, that is for sure. But no, honestly, I'm really excited for this race because, as it turns out, the trucks, unlike the Cup car, have really good racing. And as it turns out, like, through the 500s and whatnot, it was a little bit of a different year. We saw a lot of single file racing, a lot of tire wear, a lot of really weird scenarios going on where the racing just wasn't quite up to snuff what we're used to seeing here at Daytona. But these guys out here in the trucks, especially with the names we're seeing here on this grid, we could be looking at some really exciting 2-3 wide racing for the entirety of this 100 lap event. I'm really looking forward to this event.
Yeah, the trucks have been putting on a pretty good show here at Daytona. A couple weeks ago on Wednesday night, the Ascors SegPay Truck Series actually got underway here at Daytona, and that was an absolute phenomenal race. And of course, came down to the end, to the wire, and guys just battling hard side by side. And I really think that these trucks with this draft package, Ian, have put on a little bit better of a show, I think, than the Cup cars currently, because those Cup cars really seem to get real tight as you get onto about a 20 or 30 lap run. These trucks they get tight, but not as quickly and not as bad, I think, as the Cup car.
Oh, absolutely. It's just the product of the slower speeds, I feel. I think because the Cup cars are going so fast now, they're really burning up the right side tires, especially that right front, and that is causing that really tight condition that we're seeing on the long run. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how these races progress. Obviously, we are still in the daytime, so that little bit of track heat is going to affect how these cars are going to handle on the long run, but I don't expect it to be nearly as bad as a Cup car. So right now on track, we have the trucks actually in the middle of their qualifying session. As they're out there to complete their laps. We're actually right now on board with Tyler Herr in the number 19 to complete his first lap down the back straightaway now. He'll be coming to the white flag this time by. But qualifying at Daytona single car, really, really important. We're not at group qualifying in USR, so it's really just going to come down to who can hold the best line, who can put down their best laps. And you definitely want to be starting towards the front here, as passing with your 2 and 3 wide traffic jams is going to be a little bit difficult.
Yeah, typically it is safer to start up towards the front of the field, although we've seen some accidents happen when those leaders end up making some contact, and that can cause trouble for a huge number of trucks in the pack as they're racing so close lap after lap after lap. But it is always very important to have a solid qualifying run when you do come to Daytona, because you always want to start up towards the front. We talk about Daytona also. Another thing is a product of long green flag runs, and when they do that, the trouble really becomes that pit road. Pit road entry, real tough to come down. You come down with a huge group of cars. They're all fanned out. You're all trying to funnel into this narrow area and get down to 60 miles an hour, and it is tough. It can really cause a lot of havoc to some of these guys. We saw that actually last night right here on LSRTV. We were at Talladega, but it is still similar to that. But we saw huge groups of cars coming in, and it really changed the outcome of the race. We only had 3 cars battling out on the final lap. And that was all due just to mistakes on pit road. So that's one thing we're going to have to watch out. But as a driver, I mean, Ian, like, what is it about coming there? I mean, I know you're going such a high rate of speed, then you come onto this flat surface where there's literally almost like no grip, and it just seems like so many guys have so much trouble getting onto pit road, getting down to that speed without having any issues.
Now, for sure, it's exactly as you mentioned it. It's that funneling effect. You're bringing all these drivers up to speed. They're going to be going in excess of 190 miles an hour coming out of turn 4, and they got to woe these really heavy machines down. The tires are worn out. You have a bunch of cars around you, and you got to make it this really narrow entry from a very wide apron. So it really does change the dynamic of the race eventually. If one car makes a single mistake coming on pit road entry, there's not a whole lot of room to avoid the incident, especially when you're already on the binders. Like, you can make a quick move to the left and you can make a move to the left and whatnot. But unfortunately, because everyone is going to be so tight entering pit road, it's just like it is out on the track. You're going to be seeing that ping pong effect. You're going to be seeing a lot of cars bouncing off each other, and I've seen many times where races have come down to really fast guys being taken out on pit road entry. We got qualifying times coming in on the board, and so far, Tim Matthews is the guy to beat, a couple hundredths above Gottschalk.
That's a great job, a great lap right there by that 54 truck. But we're going to send down trackside now for tonight's national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting
We want to thank Jaden Berkey for that beautiful rendition of our national anthem. And as the practice and qualifying clocks strike zero and the field gets set to hit the grid for tonight's USR Daytona 250, we'll head down trackside now and take a look at this starting grid. And there it is, Tim Matthews. We talked about it just a moment ago with the big single car qualifying time of a 50.006, and that is good enough to get that pole position. Steve Gottschalk in the 91 will start just to his outside in the second spot. Jamie Walker, we talked about him, former champion. He will start in the third spot. Fourth goes to Christopher Herlow, and Ashton Crowder will start in that fifth spot.
Brian Harvey in that number 66 will qualify in the sixth position. J.R. Johnson in seventh. Greg Mall eighth. Daniel Eberhardt kind of made a late entry into the session. Not much practice. Got to keep an eye on him to make some moves towards the front. He's a half-decent sim racing driver for the Super Speedway, so we'll have to see how he does. And Tom Dreierling will be coming out in the 10th position. Very interesting to see the starting grid, though, because first all the way through 22nd are only separated by less than 1/10. Very close field.
It is a very close field. In the 11th spot will be that 33 of Aaron Bennett. Jeff Ryan will start 12th. 13th will be the 19 of Tyler Hurd. 14th starting spot will be Paul Madsen. And Paul Fugate in the 44 will roll off 15th.
Scott Simley will roll out 16th. Chris Baines 17th. George Hendricks in 18th. We have Brian Cutts in 19th. And Cody Gibson rounding out your top 20.
21st starting spot goes to James Thorndike. Todd Kirkwood will start in the 22nd spot. Eric Wortley will start 23rd. 24th goes to Michael Priester. Ricky Howell Jr. will start in that 25th spot. 26th is Sal Accardi. Tommy Ryan, last car, or truck, I should say, to take a qualifying time, will start 27th. The rest of the field, Jason McDermott, Keith Butt, Terry Randolph, and Steve Herring will set this field of 31 trucks here this evening. And 31 trucks, it's just enough to have a fantastic race here tonight. And Ian, as we get set to do this, 100 laps, 250 miles, it's a long race. These guys got to be careful early on not to make that bold move and really put themselves or anybody else in that peculiar position that's going to cost them maybe a good finish here tonight.
Yeah, with how amazing these trucks do suck up, it is very, very tempting to put your truck where it does not belong. Drivers are going to be after holding back that temptation to go 3 wide early. But as you said, we have 100 laps, 250 miles. It's a very, very long race. In order to finish this thing, well, you got to make it to the end. Pace car getting ready to make that hard left-hand turn off of the front straightaway. We're getting ready to go green here at the Daytona International for the first starting race for the USR Truck Series.
That we are. As that pace car looks to the safety of pit road, Tim Matthews will lead our field to the green flag here this evening. And he's looking for a good start as the green flag now hits out. And we're racing at Daytona once again. Topside, a little bit sluggish of a start there for that 91 of Steve Gottschalk. He's going to stack up that top side now as the front three look to take advantage as they race down into turn number 1 for the first time.
Yeah, that high side is going to take at least a half a lap, if not a full lap, to get up the song, that bottom side, shortest way around the track. And when these trucks are going slow, it's the place you want to be to gain a couple of extra positions. But right here down that back straightaway, expect that number 91 to start catching that ground back up and slowly work his way back up towards Tim Matthews, who is now leading by a good 4 car lengths. Lots of guys, single file on the bottom. Many of the top 5 looking just to ride it out for now.
Christopher Herlow on that top side right behind Steve Gottschalk. 2 familiar drivers that run in the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series here on LSRTV every Monday night. They're working together now on the top side. They're not normally teammates, but they are familiar with each other. So it's good to see a couple of familiar names up front right there on that top side, being able to work with each other now as the top 4 have able to spread out away the first position. That is Steve Gottschalk with the 90 of Daniel Eberhardt to his inside. That is that battle right now for the 5th spot as they race their way out of turn number 2. Topside still struggling just a bit as Eberhardt now punches his way out to that outside lane. He's looking to hopefully catch on to Steve Gottschalk in that 91 and get that topside finally moving as they work their way back to 3.
Yeah, Eberhardt is definitely getting the jump so far. He is making some really stout moves out on the racetrack, cutting his way to the bottom where he needed to, getting back to the high side. But unfortunately for him, it looks like that high side isn't quite formed up or looking back throughout the 5th or 6th car in line. And they're pretty strung out, so you want to get that high side making some progress. These guys source toward the top side. They need to start grouping together. They need to start working together because as we're looking at the field right now as they work their way into turn 1, bottom side is very much composed.
That they are. It's all going to be timing on the exit of the corner. you really got to time it well through the corners, getting off the corner. You want to be right on that bumper, that car right in front of you, especially on that top side to carry that momentum. And you can see them now finally being able to work their way up now as Eberhardt's going to take advantage. He's going to pull up side by side now with Tim Matthews. That's for the race lead in the turn number 3, and that's a pretty good job on that outside line. Those top 3 on that high side able to at least get hooked up for the time being. We'll see if they can get a run now off of turn number 4, but you can see that 17 to Jamie Walker now. You see how he timed that just right. He's going to stick to the back bumper of Tim Matthews and give him another lap led here on lap number 4, or excuse me, as we completed lap number 3. And these guys right now, Tim Matthews definitely showing the way early here.
Yeah, being the second car in the line is actually probably one of the more difficult parts for speedway racing. You can lead lines, it's rather easy to do, but unless you have the guy behind you who's really good at managing his temperatures, managing how close he needs to be at certain times, just, whoa! Eberhardt looks to go 3 wide and Jamie Walker as Jamie tries to throw it in front of that 90 machine, but very wisely the 90 will back out. We almost had a pileup into 3. That was a very tense moment. But as I mentioned earlier, being the second car in line is actually a little bit more of a difficult job. You have to manage temperatures, you have to manage being close, holding your line nice and steady, because what you are doing very much dictates just how much progress your lane is going to be making.
That was a bold move right there by Jamie Walker to pull up in front of Eberhardt. And I don't think Eberhardt was ready for it. He really had a good run, and that's when he started to peek to the inside and tried to make it 3 wide. Chose better of it, though, was able to get out of the throttle just a bit, maybe tap the brakes there, get himself behind him there. But that was a bold move by Jamie Walker to get up there and take advantage of that. And right now it's going to pay off for him now as they stretch out just a little bit, almost a truck length now in front of the race lead. And that's going to be tough right now as they come into the corner. This is where you're going to see that top side really start to almost hit a wall. They're going to back off from the lead now. Now it's going to be all up to Eberhardt if he can get to his back bumper and corner exit, give him the push down the front straightaway. Problem is that start-finish line comes pretty quick here at Daytona. It looks like Tim Matthews is going to lead another one here as we complete lap number 6.
Still pretty early in the going of this event, and it's really going to be curious as me to see just how much of a strong alliance these drivers are going to have with those around them. Whether or not that 17 is, you might be getting a run down the back straightaway this time. Eberhardt's pretty solidly on his bumper. Now the question is, will that 17 wait for Eberhardt to get clear and go down, or is he just going to leave him out to dry? You know, it is early in the race and you're still trying to stay where you can, but it's this stage of the race where you're really trying to gain all of your alliances for the late race, because unless you have some solid help out there, it's pretty much guaranteed you're not going to be winning this race. And as you saw right there, Jamie was very much clear of that inside lane, but he decided to stay up trying to gain a friend in Eberhardt there. Pretty smart move.
Yeah, it is. We talk about Daniel Eberhardt. We see him a lot here.
Whoa.
The 37 looks like he got loose through the tri-oval. Able to keep it on the apron and able to keep the thing going straight. That's a tough call right there, or a tough play right there to keep that going straight on that tri-oval when you get loose and you get down on that apron. And he did a great job right there, not coming back up into the field. Tough break for him, though. He was sitting 3rd on that inside lane, and he'll have to relinquish that spot right now, head to the back of the field, hopefully pick up the draft as they still continue to race side by side for the race lead. And that 17, he had the opportunity about a lap ago to drop down in front. He chose to stay up on that type side and work with that 90. And we talk about Eberhardt here quite a bit on LSRTV. He tends to race quite a bit. Look at the 54.
Here we go.
Looked like he was trying to make his way up to the top side there to break their momentum. The problem was he wasn't clear of the 17. Almost got trapped in the sucker hole right there. And the unfortunate one right now is Jamie Walker. It looks like he'll be able to get back in line right there in front of the 91 of Steve Gottschalk, but that was a close call right there as well.
Yeah, Gottschalk definitely caught him a break there, because Jamie Walker was on a one-way ticket to the back of the pack. He just did not get the help he needed when he got shuffled out of line, and there's a really, really long line of cars just waiting to pass him up as we have the 18 hitting the apron going into 3. 18 being Christopher Herlow. Does a really good job hanging onto that, and everyone else around him reactively drives correctly enough to not run into the back of that car. That could have been a very tense and pretty dire situation for this race. As Eberhardt, once again, looking to take it 3 wide up towards the front. He is not backing down. He is definitely looking to show a statement early on in the going.
That's a bold move for him also with no help right there. It looks like he's going to be able to drop back behind Tim Matthews. But Eberhardt, we got trouble behind these guys. Pretty big wreck right there through the corner. Looking at a couple of the trucks involved. Looks like the 7 of Cody Gibson was involved, and the 88 as well, Jeff Ryan. We'll take a peek at that. Hopefully we can get a replay up to you as soon as possible. Scott Simley involved too. They were going 4 wide with the 3-car in the middle right there of Keith Button. Wow, we talked about it, not doing something crazy. And I'll tell you what, 4 wide this early in the race is pretty crazy.
Yeah, as you can see on the LSRTV live replay, it actually kind of all starts when Tom Dryerling catches the apron going into turn 1. I don't know if he was taking evasive to not run into the back of somebody, or he might have caught the inside, but that really stacks up the field. And you're right, we see 4 wide right in the mirror, and looks like we have the 3-car trying to shoot a gap as well. That's being Keith Butt, trying to get to the outside of the 68, inside of the 88. Well, they're already 3 wide up there. That was very tight going, and just a little bit of an accordion effect. They all just kind of came together there, and lots of soft hits, lots of hard hits, but not too many cars involved. Kind of surprised that was the middle of the pack wreck. That could have been a lot worse.
Well, it absolutely could have been, and looks like only about 4 or 5 trucks going to be involved in that first opening accident. So our first caution of the night comes on lap number 9 here at Daytona. 100 laps, a scheduled distance of the race, and man, that's a little bit early for some pressure moves. But like you said, one small little checkup right in front of these guys, and everything happens so quick. You're driving so close to each other. And one little slip up like that, you try to just make a move to try to not hit the guy in front of you. You end up in a position like that, a 3 and 4 wide, and that just ultimately spells disaster for yourself, some other drivers, and possibly the rest of the field. Pit road is open this time by. I expect, even though and we've only run 10 laps, to all the leaders to come down pit road. They run a smaller fuel cell. They don't run 100% fuel cell, so fuel does come into play here, at least on some strategy. So having an opportunity to come down under caution is the way to go. Get yourself 4 tires, get some fuel back in that machine, and get yourself back out on the racetrack. The 27 of Ashton Crowder started 5th, worked his way up into that first spot, and he led everybody down pit road, and it looks like everyone making it in pretty well right there. Looks like the 27, though, only took 2 tires. A couple guys, take 2 tires. Jamie Walker in 17 as well.
Yeah, I don't think the tires are going to be causing that much of an issue this early on in the race. We only got good 10 laps in for this run, so maybe later on in the race after they get full fuel runs, they might consider taking 4 tires, but at this point I think they're on the strategy where they alternate taking right sides then taking left side and just keep doing that over and over, because as you said, the shorter fuel cell, we don't see these tires wearing out for the entirety of a run like you would see the 45 laps. So it's really all about track positioning at this point as well, because you take 4, you're going to be losing quite a few positions this early going.
Yep, you want to take obviously track position. Any track we go to comes into play, but I guess to say at Daytona or Talladega, any of the play tracks, it's not as bad as if we were at a Martinsville or a Dover or a shorter track of Bristol. Even the track position at those places is just unbelievable. You got to take your chances and stay out when you can, or take those chances as far as tires. But we do know when you come to Daytona, Talladega, there is that possibility. You start in the back, you have that opportunity with speed, with the right drafting help, to get yourself back up to the front of the pack fairly easy, being that you're running in a full pack of the cars are all within usually 1 second of each other. So with that said, track position still obviously is key when it comes to any racetrack, but obviously at Daytona, it's a little bit more forgiving.
No, absolutely. You have the opportunities to make your way back up through the pack, thanks to the draft keeping everyone nice and bunched up together. It's just a matter of actually working your way through that really tight wall of trucks in front of you, trying to make that ground back up. It's a lot more difficult than it sounds, believe it or not, especially when the whole entire grid is on just the absolute lock. You have to look for guys probably making it 3 wide to make moves from the back of the pack towards the front, but it's way too early to be doing moves like that. So at this point, we're just looking to ride it out still. We're only working lap 12 of 100 so far. But it looks like the entire field decided to pit, except for the 06. That's Tom Dryerling. We saw catching the apron there when that little 4-wide incident happened when the 4-wide incident happened into turn 1 just a couple of laps ago. So really curious to see how this works out for him. If he doesn't get a caution here, that could really end up biting him, because he's the only person on this field strategy, and he's going to be all alone if he has to come in and pit.
Yeah, we saw that actually last night in the race as well. A lap down machine actually saved the driver that stayed out. It was a teammate of his and decided to come down anyway since he was a lap down to help him out. But yeah, that is a gamble you're going to take, as Tom Dryerling did that, stayed out here on this first caution of the evening. And for him, he wants the track position. We'll see what happens. He's probably hoping for a quick caution here as we get back underway. But when you're at Daytona, when you're at Talladega, the looming effect of a long green flag run is always there. Doesn't matter what point of the race it could be. So a gamble early on for Tom Dreiling, but at the same time, with the track position, hey, these guys all have their own strategy, and this is what he's decided to do, and we'll see what happens for him. Hopefully it works out.
Yeah, for sure. At a point in the race, though, like, because he was so far back, it's not a bad call. He could very well catch that lucky break, because I believe we still have, over half of the fuel cell left here. I need to get the numbers correctly on how many gallons we're running here, but if he does catch a caution within, the next 10, 15 laps, that could put him in a good spot, because if the fuel's looking to keep pitting after those amounts of laps, that could put him in a half-decent spot, and he would have right there netted a good 20 positions on that gain. So here's to see how this pays off. This will also be a really good indication to see if 10 laps do actually mean anything on these tires, especially in the daytime conditions.
Yeah, I think the tires, the most effect we'll probably see is probably initially on the restart here, and if that 06 is able to not spin the tires on the drop of the green flag, but being the control car, he has that advantage of starting, I guess, a little bit slower, if you will, on the throttle. So he gets that small advantage of being able to start the field. So we'll see as they get ready to get our first restart back underway here at Daytona. 250 miles scheduled on the circuit. Lap number 13 about to complete. When they get the green flag this time by Tom Dreiling will lead the field this time to the green flag. Ashton Crowder started in that 5th spot. He was leading when that caution came out. He's going to restart on the outside lane. The outside lane didn't go anywhere that first time, Ian. Hopefully this time maybe they can get something going here. You got Eberhardt, that's 4th starting spot right there. 2nd car on the outside. We'll see what he can do on this restart as well. The pace car blowing the field up, getting them set ready for our first restart of the night. It should be a good one here as the pace car looks to the safety of pit road once again, and we'll get this thing underway. Tom Dreiling getting set, getting everybody ready, backing off just a bit as they stack the field up. Pace car is off. The green flag is back in the air. We're racing again at Daytona.
Yeah, curious to see if that high side is able to form up well, as it looks like the 27 actually got a much better start compared to how the high side did last time. That puts them in a really prime position as they get into one. But just looking at that high side, we have Eberhardt, we have Jamie Walker, we also have Tim Matthews leading most of the race so far. It's a lot of experience up there. I believe those guys, more than anything else, know how to get it done, and I would definitely not be surprised to see that 27 leading by the end of this lap.
Very well could happen as Eberhardt in the 90 truck right there on his back bumper, trying to give him a push as they head down the back straightaway. Not going to be able to get him out to that top spot just yet. You can see that 27 really trying to side draft the 17 as they go down the back straightaway. During inside the corners, you want to take it easy on the side draft. You never know if that truck on the inside will push up and get a little bit tight as they come through the corner. But it looks like right here, Tom Dreiling, with the help of Jamie Walker, he will lead this first lap as we get back underway, and that top side starting to gain a little more momentum, and there goes right up to the top just like he did during that last run. He's going to pull out just a bit for that race lead.
I do like what Jamie Walker has been doing, though, making these moves. He definitely knows how to clear himself and get to the high side, and late in the going of the race, the person who does moves like that at super speedways, 9 times out of 10, he is going to be your winner. It's really coming down to leading that outside lane coming out of 4 as you get that momentum coming towards the start-finish line. If you can keep positioning himself like that, you got to believe he's got to be one of the guys who might possibly be one of the more prime contenders to take the win. But as it's still at 15, we got a long way to go. We still got to speculate a lot of things here. We got a lot of events to still play out, but I definitely like how Jamie is racing out here at Daytona.
85 laps, that's all we got left. 85 laps this time by as they hit the start-finish line. Tom Dreiling will continue to lead that top side, though, still with the help of the 27, giving Jamie Walker the push that he needs currently right now. Eberhardt, third one in line on that top side. He's another one of those guys, loves the top side when he runs at these restrictor play races. See if he can get the job done now. Looking off to turn number 2. Crowder able to get up on the back bumper of Jamie Walker. That's going to give him that advantage heading back into turn number 3. Not enough, though, to clear Tom Dreiling. He's going to continue to lead that inside line.
Yeah, nose to tail for pretty much the entirety of this pack. Very much even from front to back in both lanes. So all the runs are going to be pretty stalled out. No numbers advantage anywhere that I'm seeing. So at this point, even though we're 2x2 and running 195 miles an hour, this is basically what you would call a super speedway racing, just riding it out. Even though, well, as I say that, it looks like the 9 is going to look to possibly even take it 3 wide going into 1, but thinks better of it. We'll duck back in line on the 27. But yeah, this looks pretty docile. It's really difficult to say when they're going this fast at a racetrack such as Daytona, but this is basically as calm as it gets right now.
And we see that top side. Look at them nose to tail right up on each other. 3 cars deep right now. That will give that run right now to the 17, Jamie Walker. He's got the position if he wants it, and he takes it this time. Drops down to that inside lane. Gives Crowder now that top spot on the top lane. Jamie Walker now moving to the race lead. He led that last lap, not by much, only 10/100ths of a second. This time he'll lead it by more than a truck length now as the 19 of Tyler Herr checked up there just a little bit going through the tri-oval. That bottom side will get separated just a bit. It'll kill the momentum as they head to turn number 1, the 27. Looking to take advantage of that side by side as they continue to race for the top spot here off of turn number 2. That 90 looking a little tight action there. He's going to make it 3 wide now. He loves doing that for the TV as Tim Matthews follows him in that 54 truck. They're going to leave that 27 high and dry in that middle lane.
Gonna go on board with Tim Matthews riding right on the back bumper of the number 90 truck, but it looks like the middle lane, even though he doesn't have any help, is actually making moves back up to the middle of the racetrack. And just like that, Tim Matthews is gonna see that the high side is going nowhere. He's gonna leave that 90 out to dry, and Eberhardt is so far on one-way ticket to the back, but it looks like the 12 car had a little bit of a gap in front of him, so he will duck it right back in line. But man, Eberhardt is definitely shown on the side of aggression more times than not. He's definitely looking to put on a show.
We call him Mr. Showtime. I think that's where we got to nickname him now. Is Mr.
Sure.
Showtime. Daniel Eberhardt going to drop. He's going to be 4th in line now as Tyler Herr moves up with him, gives him a little bit of help. Those two have raced quite a bit together over the course of the past few seasons in many different series. So those two running together in the super speedway, not much of a surprise for me. As they exit turn number 4, that top side's going to get a run this time. The 54 at Matthews, he's going to push Crowder now to that top side. They're going to come in a hurry right there as there was a gap between Tom Dryerling and Jamie Walker, and that gives that top side the advantage. Move that 27 back to the race lead, and they were able to clear 2 cars that time as they head to turn 1.
Yeah, give a shout to Tim Matthews there. He definitely knew when it was time to start pushing there. A good super speedway racer is able to look at how everyone is racing around you, looking at the gaps, and just kind of read how the lines are going to be running. Is just like that. We got 3 wide once again. Tim Matthews stuck in the middle. 19 of looking to make it to the high side with the help from Eberhardt is no surprise. Here he goes on the high side, trying to get that 3rd lane running once again. He's going to try to clear Tim Matthews, but thinks better of it. Tim Matthews' bumper is still there on the inside of the 90. Seen a lot of really heavy action early on in the going. This is some good stuff.
That is. We're about to complete lap number 20 right now on the high side. Tyler Herr decided not to drop down in front of the 54, and he's going to continue to ride that high side right now with Eberhardt as the middle lane. Going to start filling up now. Here comes the 12 car, Greg Mall. He's going to move up.
19's on the wall.
Oh, it looks like the 19 touches the wall a little bit. Eberhardt's going to continue to push him there. That's pretty interesting right there. They did a great job hanging on to that right now. Problem is they're going to lose the draft of this lead pack now, and that's going to put them outside looking to catch up with that second pack who's led right now. They're 2 seconds back from the race lead. They're led by that 47 of Todd Kirkwood, and that second pack trying to do everything they can to try to catch this first pack, but right now just not happening. Up front, Crowder still continuing to lead. Tim Matthews leading that top side.
That is a tough break for Tyler. He looks like he got a little bit tight up on that 3rd lane. It's kind of a question. We were wondering how these cars are going to react with the tires slowly wearing out, and if that's any sign of the indication for how this high side is going to be acting. It looks like it's going to be pretty difficult to be making moves up there, as that car just took a one-way beeline straight into that outside wall. Lots of front and back end damage on both the 90 and the 19. Really tough break. Up front, though, still side by side, 2x2. Not a whole lot changing.
Yeah, not much happening as far as some 3 wide action like we just saw with those, but you can see these trucks starting to get a little tight as they burn the fuel off, and as these tires wear off, most of these guys taking only right side tires on that caution on lap number 9, and you can see them start pushing up in the center of the corner and on the exit. So we'll keep an eye on that, see if it gets any worse for these drivers right now. 23 laps, working on that right now. We're going to take a moment. We're going to take a moment and step aside. You've been watching the USR Truck Series right here on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing. Well, welcome back to Daytona International Speedway, the USR Daytona 250 right here on LSRTV and iRacing Live. And so far, a lot of great action up front. We've been cleaning green since about lap number 13. We work lap number 26 right now, so we're probably approaching close about that halfway point of a fuel run. So we see a lot of these guys starting to push up just a bit now on the racetrack through the corners and on corner exits. So only taking those 2 tires, I think, is starting to play some sort of effect in the handling right now. So we see that top side right now is trying to make a comeback on the high side, led, of course, by that 17 of Jamie Walker, former champion, or I should call him past champion here in the USR Truck Series. And Tim Matthews on that bottom side doing a great job holding that bottom side right now and keeping that race lead. But that top side, it's coming in a hurry, and I think they figured it out now. As 4 of them on the top side have gotten all up on each other's back bumpers right now, and that's giving them the advantage. They're going to pull side by side right now for that race lead back into turn number 1.
Yep, and as the run progresses and these trucks start to tighten up, it gets extra difficult to run the truck on the bottom and not slide up that racetrack and hit the doors of those on your outside. As we're getting towards the back half of the run, I do have to believe the high side is probably going to be the place you want to be, start making up moves, because it looks like you're able to, run it out wide, make some extra moves. It's just like that. Wow, the 12 and the 17 are both going to clear Tim Matthews down the back straightaway with that massive run they got out of 2, thanks to their trucks being able to run up the racetrack and exit just a little bit more. That's the place you want to be to make up runs later in the runs, as Jamie Walker knows for sure, along with help from that number 12 of Greg Mull, as they're going to work their way back up towards the front. But just like that, we have a new contender for that lead. Actually, I haven't talked about him all race long. That's Aaron Bennett in the 33. He has made his charge to the front.
Yeah, Aaron Bennett all the way from that 11th starting spot to first in that B&C lawn and landscaping Silverado, and he's doing a great job there in that front on that top side right now. We talked about it coming from that 11th starting spot, and he's worked his way up very nice with Brian Cutts giving him a good push now down the back straightaway. He's going to pull up even into turn number 3 for that race lead. It's going to be all about the timing as the 4 gets a little tight, pushes up the racetrack right there. That's going to kill that top side momentum. That's going to allow Jamie Walker and that 12 of Greg Mull to continue there. And you can see right now the 06 of Tom Dryerling coming to pit road now all by himself. And that's exactly what we talked about with him staying out on that opening caution lap, that caution flag, that he was going to have to come down pit road eventually. And the problem was he wasn't going to have any help, and we can see that now.
Yeah, and unfortunately, he also just did a little bit of a half spin.
There's
a 2 hits the wall hard.
That's Ricky Howell Jr. in that 2 truck. Everybody able to serpentine their way around him right there, but
caution.
Caution. Like caution going to be out. Like the 93 machine of Eric Wortley in that All Hours Racing Chevrolet having some problems on the back straightaway there off at turn number 2. So the 93 truck, cause of the second caution here tonight, and looks like a self-spin right there for that 93. Coming on lap number 29 and our second caution of the night. And you know who's going to benefit from this is that 6
Oh,
truck.
no kidding.
That 06 truck of Tom Dryerling is going to be a very happy guy, I think, right there with that caution flag.
That worked out just about as perfect as it possibly could. He just got fresh tires. He just got fuel in that machine. And hey, guess what? He didn't get lapped. Everyone in front of him has to pit. That's going to put him on the front row. And in sequence with everybody, the gamble has paid off. Great move.
That's luck.
Absolute luck.
That's what you call racing luck.
Hey, sometimes you got to have it. This is Daytona.
Yeah, that's definitely what you call racing luck, and sometimes you need that when you're competing like these guys do, week in and week out, and you got to have some of that if you're going to be have any shot at a championship run in any season. Doesn't matter how good you are, you got to have some of that racing luck. And right there, the first one you can give that horseshoe for to the 06 of Tom Dryerling right there, and it works out for him. His pace, the pace speed. We're going to head down pit road as pit road is open this time by, and the 33 truck, Aaron Bennett, going to lead the way now with the 17 of Jamie Walker and Brian Cutts in tow.
Aaron Bennett going to bring the snake down pit road. Everyone riding the right side as they make their left-hand turn to their pit stalls. And seeing how the trucks were handling after just a couple of laps out there, about halfway through a fuel run, you got to believe after that little bit of an experiment, I guess you would say, this early on in the going, it's definitely time to be taking 4 tires every single pit stop. I don't think you're going to be seeing many guys taking 2 anymore, as these trucks have been getting incredibly loose out there. Tight, rather, excuse me.
The race off pit road's going to heat up. It looks like the 17 of Jamie Walker is going to beat everybody out of pit road, and might have taken 2 tires again that time. So that's going to be twice. He took 4. That's an amazing wow, that is an amazing pit stop for the trucks right there. And actually, Tim Matthews actually going to lead. I think he led everybody out. So the 54 truck beat everybody out off of pit road. A 17, a real good stop for him though. Jamie Walker getting the job done. A slow stop for what was our race leader, Aaron Bennett. And speaking of Aaron Bennett, we take a look at that B&C lawn and landscaping truck. Of course, can't forget about our people that help us, or help USR and help LSRTV get everything done right here on the broadcast. And B&C Lawn Care and Landscape Service. They're based out of Frankfort, Delaware. Check them out, B&C, for all your landscaping needs, including turf care, mulching, snow removal, and more. Professionally licensed and insured. Contact Aaron Bennett at 302-381-6073 for all your inquiries. That's B&C Lawn and Landscaping, official partner of United Sim Racing. Well, Ian, we've approached just past that quarter distance on the race now, working lap number 32 this time by right here. There's still 68 laps, 69 laps left to go in this thing. I mean, we know that top side can work. It's just a matter of who's out there and what type of draft they can get off of the corners. But do you think ultimately that is the place you're going to want to be to get the win here tonight?
Oh, absolutely, no doubt in my mind. When you're on the bottom and you just get stuck down there, you don't have the option to really start making your moves. You got to force your way to the middle. You got to force your way to the top. The high side is the place you want to be to start making these moves and get your truck where it needs to be to take the win. When we get down to the end of this thing, just riding on the bottom is unfortunately not going to cut it. And I got to believe that Jamie Walker is definitely knowing that, as he has been quite the taker out there, working both lanes to his advantage almost every single opportunity that he gets.
Yeah, he's done that a couple times now, just timed it just right to jump out in front of that outside lane when they get the run. He gets the push, gets out up to the race lead. He's led a bunch of laps here tonight in that 17 truck. And we talked about him 2 seasons ago, coming off with that championship win. And it was just an incredible season, just looking at the stats. And I'm a stats guy. I love stats, Ian. And I think his average start was 2 point something, and his average finish was a 4 point something. The guy was absolutely amazing. I think he only pulled off 1 win, I think it was, as well. So it was just consistent finishes week after week after week for that 17, and he dominated that series and had the thing won before we even got to Homestead. So just an outstanding job by Jamie Walker, and he fell short just a little bit in that 6-race season we just ended a couple weeks ago. And with only 6 races in the season, that makes it kind of tough to one bad race and you're pretty much out of it. And Dan Murray definitely put on 6 basically perfect races, pulled out the truck championship. He's not here tonight, but hopefully Dan Murray will get into the series and get himself the opportunity to defend his title this season here in 2016, and it'll be a fun one to watch over the course of the next 31 weeks or so as we get set to have this the whole season right here on LSRTV, including an all-star race coming about the halfway point at Charlotte. And we know Charlotte and the trucks mix very well. We saw that last night as well on the Rod Car Truck Tour right here on LSRTV. So that is looking forward to that. Looking forward to the whole schedule. We hit Atlanta next week, so next Saturday night, Atlanta. That's another fun place to watch these trucks.
Now, Atlanta has been one of the more fun 1.5 mile racetracks to watch these NASCAR trucks here in the iRacing service really tussle it out and get it done. That is a very fun race, and I can't wait for that one next week. But we still have well over half of this race to complete here at Daytona. One step at a time here, Andy. One step at a time.
Yeah, no, I get ahead of myself. So I'm just, not that I don't like. It's not that I don't like racing here. We've just seen so many races here at Daytona over the last couple of weeks. It's unbelievable, just the amount of the laps and the hours that we've been broadcasting some of these races, and all different leagues and all different events that we've had on Saturdays as well too. We had a couple 500 milers the last couple Saturdays, so lots of miles put here at Daytona, and looking forward to some of these other tracks when these guys can get down and dirty when they hit places like Dover and Martinsville and places like that with these trucks. Those are always fun as well. So with that said, though, we're getting ready to hit our second restart of the evening, and Tom Dreiling, the lucky man of the night here, off after that first go around, he was able to come down pit road, not lose a lap. He's going to assume the race lead here as the pace car looks to the safety of pit road for the second time. Tom Dreiling going to lead the field to the green flag, and it's out right now. We're back to racing at Daytona. Top side, the 54, Tim Matthews. Pretty good run right there. He was able to get a good start. Problem is that 27 truck up to the back bumper of Tom Dreiling a little bit quicker than Jamie Walker, and they're pulling a slight advantage into one.
Yeah, Tim Matthews doing his best. He's going to get right on the door of that number 27. Ashton Crowder going to be pushing the 06 as we get to the exit of corner number 2. 3 cars top side, 3 cars bottom side, looking for Tim Matthews to start making room. But right, here we go. 27 looking to the inside. The 06 possibly no. He'll back down. Tim Matthews gets the excellent run down the back straightaway, and he'll look to assume the lead going into corner number 3.
That he will. He's going to clear. Actually, both of them are going to clear that top spot right there. Move Jamie Walker into that second spot now as they race through 3 and 4. Tim Matthews going to lead this pack now off of turn number 4. The top side going to lose a lot of ground right now. Aaron Bennett now is going to be that first truck on that outside lane. He's all the way back there battling for the 5th spot next to the 12 of Greg Mull. Right now, top 4, they're single file. They're spread out. They're pulled away just a little bit now as they head back to turn 1.
Yeah, bottom side definitely the place to be right now. We got a pretty long single file train of vehicles all the way through front to the back of this pack. 3 cars up towards the middle of this pack, though, looking to change something about that. Looks like we have the 12 car leading that lane. That is going to be Greg Mull in that Millwright machine, as he's actually making some pretty solid ground with help from the 33 of Aaron Bennett. They're moving forward at a pretty rapid pace. They're looking to make their way towards the front of this pack.
A beautiful paint scheme right there, kind of Rusty Wallace X of an old-time paint scheme in the Miller Genuine Draft right there in that gold number 12s, and trying to get that top side moving right now. Aaron Bennett all over his back bumper. They've gotten up to that 3rd spot now. We'll see if they can get it done off of turn number 2. The field stacked up pretty nicely, 2 by 2 throughout this. We'll have to keep an eye on that 90 and that 18 truck that had some issues earlier on, or not the 18, the 19, excuse me, of Tyler Herr. Those 2 guys who had the trouble in that last run, looks like they've paired up now. They're back in the 22nd, 23rd spot in the second group of trucks right now. The top side on the front, up in the front of the pack, they made it up to that 2nd spot of Jamie Walker. As they exit turn number 4, Tim Matthews continuing to lead here for about the complete lap number 36.
Yeah, unfortunately for Eberhardt and Hare, they do have significant damage on the vehicle still. They had the opportunity to fix that damage, but we're looking at them in the back of the pack. You know, they're just kind of latched down. They're doing the best to hold on, but you got to believe that damage is going to hinder their progress as this race progresses. Got to see what happens here. Unfortunately, they're not really in a good spot right now, but still got several laps to make way up towards the front. Up towards the front of the pack, however, we're back to that 2x2 style of racing. Back to gridlock as it looks like the lanes are evening out as we're working down the back straightaway.
Like rush hour traffic on the Jersey Turnpike right there.
Oh, gosh.
And I think they actually drive this fast on the Jersey Turnpike. Been there a few times, and if you're doing about 70 or 80, you're going slow. You better be in that right-hand lane. And look at these guys going right now. A lot of guys swapping positions all the way through the field right now. And we talk about Eberhardt, and those guys still having damage. There is 1 reset allowed to these drivers each race, so they just choosing not to take that reset this early in the race. They're going to try to hang on to it at least for now, and hopefully save it for the end and maybe make a push towards the front in the later stages of this race. Good run off of turn number 2 though for that 12. Right now, Greg Mull, he led that he's in that 3rd spot the last time by at the stripe, and he's going to pull up side by side now finally with that 54. Tim Matthews edge out slightly here in turn number 3. We'll see if that 33 of Aaron Bennett can get on his back bumper and corner exit, give that top side that push it needs to get up there and lead this lap.
Looking like it's going to do this time. New leader, 12 car, Greg Mull will get that machine back to the front. He's going to slide right in front of Tim Matthews. Drivers get on the radio saying just barely, and I agree with Aaron Bennett there. That was a really close move there, but he got it done. He got up to the lead, and now he's got Tim Matthews on his back bumper, but got to be looking out now. Aaron Bennett, with help from the 4 car, will start making his charge towards the front as we're just going to keep cycling through.
He's going to try. This is almost like leapfrog. These guys playing leapfrog at 195 miles an hour right now. As that 33 truck, Aaron Bennett, going to push out ahead. Not quite clear the 12 into turn number 3. That 4 truck looking a little unstable right there on the entrance of turn number 3. We're going to go on board with that 4 truck now as he tries to give that push on that top side. Look at 3 trucks now, 4 trucks, all glued to the bumper now. Give Aaron Bennett the lap lead right there as he pulls down to the bottom side now. Gives that 4 truck on the outside the advantage now as they race back to turn number 1.
Yeah, I think it's a really good analogy. They're definitely playing leapfrog out there. Now the 4 cars, the next guy in line on that high side with help from the 18 being Christopher Herlo. But it looks like they're actually not quite as well organized as you saw some of the others on that high side earlier. Not quite getting the runs that we were seeing earlier, but here's to see what happens as they come out of 4. But Aaron Bennett back to the lead in the 33, looking pretty stout.
He is looking pretty stout in this race here tonight. And see that 4 truck just seems a little unstable maybe in the corners right there. Making it a little tough for that 18 of Christopher Erlo to get on his back bumper. He's able to latch on right there off of turn number 4. Give him a run. It's not enough, I don't think, to lead this lap. We're definitely going to keep him up close and in contention right now. That top side, 3 trucks strong, trying to give the push for that 4 truck to get out to the race lead. And we look at guys like Tim Matthews and the 17 and Jamie Walker, who were leading about 5-10 laps ago. Now they're sitting 3rd and 4th on that bottom side just because of that leapfrog effect. And you can see it right. Wow, that was close right there with the tube truck. Ricky Howell Jr. almost making contact with Jamie Walker on the exit of turn number 2. Up front, the 4 truck not going to quite clear the 33 of Aaron Bennett. Bennett's going to fight back on the bottom side there, but that top side, they're looking to try to get the run here. As Herlo again tries once again to get up to that back bumper on the corner exit. Not quite going to get it. Aaron Bennett's going to lead another one.
Move the camera to the back of this lead pack. Would you guess at who is making a charge? 19 and a 90, working their way up through the field. As always, they have some contact into the 3. Tyler's going to get into the back of Eberhardt there, but they're going to straighten that away. That was almost an incident, but gosh, believe it or not, with all that damage we're seeing on the nose of both machines, even with that, they still have some pretty solid speed as well up towards the front. We got some tussling going on, a lot of shifts around as Tim Matthews will now work his way back to the high side. He wants to get back to the point.
Yeah, he had the opportunity to jump out in front of that 4 truck. He did so. Now he wants to get back up to the race lead. And you talk about Eberhardt and her making that move, and they were over 2 seconds back of the race lead, back in the 22nd, 23rd spot. This time, or last time by, they were sitting 14th and 15th. So good job by those guys, and only 6/10 off of the race lead. So they're making their moves. They're coming up through the field, but they've kind of hit a roadblock now as they sit on that top side. The only way they're going to make positions now is to try a 3-wide action. And the last time they did that, they were eating some safer barrier there in turns 2 and 3, and it's getting pretty crazy going on up front as well as these guys just continue to keep shifting lanes. Tom Dryling, one of the most recent to come off the top side down in the bottom. He falls in behind the 17 of Jamie Walker. As you can see, these guys again starting to push up just a bit. We've only been green flag racing for about 10 laps or so. It seems like forever, but it's only been about 10 laps or so. But you can already see some guys struggling with some handling in the corners.
Yeah, the racing action may be going on towards the front for the lead, but middle of this pack, we have drivers just changing lanes, swapping, weaving in and out, getting tight, pushing up the racetrack. And my eyes are just glued on the middle of this pack right now. Is earlier mentioning the 2 car, that's Ricky Howell, almost getting into the door. Somebody a couple of laps prior, he was the truck that we saw absolutely pancake that wall coming out of I-2 a little bit earlier thanks to a really tight condition. Looks like he's going to use that reset and get right back up into the thick of things as we are really getting racy as we're nearing the halfway point of the USR Truck Series Daytona 250.
We are approaching the halfway point. This time by, it'll be about 6 laps from that point. Look at this bottom side right now. Only 6 trucks on that bottom side. The top side really outnumbering them currently right now as they run. And that 33 truck, Aaron Bennett's looking pretty stout, though, on that bottom side. That top side's just not been able to take advantage of the momentum that they can carry off the corners right now. And Aaron Bennett's got to be loving that as they continue to race now off the turn number 2. And top side looks like they're going to get the run now as the 4 truck able to latch on to Tim Matthews. They're going to pull up even now as they head into turn number 3. You got Christopher Herlo in that 18 truck trying to help him out as well. And so far hasn't worked out too well. It seems that 4 truck again right there. You can see him heading into the corner. He pushes way up the racetrack there. And that really definitely causes the momentum to be lost for that top side. but they're still trying as they come to the line this time. It actually looks like Tim Matthews might lead that lap right there. That's a close one right there. 8/1000ths of a second, Ian.
Yeah, it's like they're gonna do the old leapfrog to the front as the 4 car gets way up the racetrack into 1 once again. He's definitely having issues with corner entry. Gotta believe those right sides may be slightly cooked on that number 4 snap-on machine. Slightly, ever so slightly, a little crispy. But it'll get later on in the race, and when these tires start wearing, you can't make those really aggressive moves on corner entry more. You actually almost have to start slightly arcing the entry of corner number 3. I know everyone's tired of hearing that word with the Cup car and all these Daytona 500s and 250s you've been running, seeing the same thing happening, but it's looking like we're seeing the same thing happening here in this series. You got to be very precise with your lines in the corner, and if you're not, as we've seen Brian do a couple of times, you're going to slide up to the outside wall as he almost goes to the inside of Tim Matthews through the start-finish line area. That could have been disastrous.
That could have been, and that would have been disastrous for a lot of big names right there. Steve Gottschalk right behind them on that bottom side as well, as he started up in the front of the field as well, started in that second spot now, right now currently running in 11th. Top side, though, they've switched it up just a little bit. Tim Matthews not going to lead that freight train right now. Greg Mall able to slide up in front of him. He's going to try to get back to the race lead as Jamie Walker now is pulled up to the back bumper of Aaron Bennett. He's going to give him the push that he needs down the front straightaway here off turn number 4. That's going to give Aaron Bennett another lap led. That's a good move right there by Jamie Walker, able to push that bottom side out to the lead, about 3 truck lengths now as they head back into turn number 1. And some real, I'm liking this little green flag run we got going on here, and we're approaching that point where it's going to be about probably another 10 or 15 laps. We're going to have to start seeing some green flag stops, which we talked about at the beginning of the race and how important those can be to the opportunity to win one of these races. And you got to be good on those as well. And as we get closer and closer to that, we'll have to keep an eye on who has trouble with their stops on the green flag, and or, you know, the way they're racing, we could have a caution too.
Yeah, curious to see what happens as we get really close to those pit stops. As you mentioned earlier, these tires wearing out, we're already starting to see some of the effects right now. They're going to be getting pretty tight towards the latter portions of these runs, and that could very well cause trouble. We're seeing a lot of guys really starting to get extra tight coming out of 2 on that bottom side. And we're basically 2 by 2 the whole entire field. 1 car on the bottom comes up off the bottom and starts making that rocketing move towards that wall. You have nowhere to go, and that could spell trouble. Is once again, 2 is going to catch the apron. Ricky Howell doing his best to hang on to that machine, but he is definitely getting wrestled around out there, that is for sure. It's doing his best to hang on this time as we're about halfway through this fuel run.
Now, it looks like the 2 and the 4 are probably the 2 trucks that stand out the most, having problems with the handling here tonight. So we'll keep an eye on those 2 as they continue to run in the top 10 currently right now. There's a lot more shifting and moving around is going on here. Tom Dryerling, good rebound for him. Whoa, 1 truck down in the apron. Looks like the 22 machine of Terry Randolph having some issues going through the tri-oval there. He's able to get back up on the racetrack safely. They green flag racing right now off of turn number 2 and that bottom lane right now. We talked about Tom Dryerling getting the lucky rabbit's foot on that.
Whoa! Big incident. We have slow cars on the apron. The 2
truck
is going to run into the back of the 3, and we have all kinds of problems down the back straightaways. He comes up the racetrack, hits another vehicle. That is a massive incident. This is not what you want to be seeing. That could have very well been avoided. Just really unsmart driving by the vehicles trying to remerge with the pack. Wow.
That was an amazing wreck right there. We just saw everything was good. We were going clean and green, and all of a sudden we had some lap traffic that was coming off of pit road there and caught everybody by surprise. If we can get some car numbers on those guys, but it looks like initially the 2 truck of the 2 truck of Ricky Howell was the first one to hit that lap truck, came up the racetrack, hit the 3, and that just caused a mayhem right there as the lap traffic causing some issues for that 2 truck and the 3 as well. And then as well as that thing continued on, that 3 truck just, once you get on that grassy and you cannot slow down, and once he got going and hit that bump at the grass, came right back up the racetrack, right into the 2 truck again, and 66 was involved. Like Scott Simley in the 68 just barely squeaked through there. In the 19, Tyler Herr was involved as well. So a lot of cars. Looks like about 8 to 10 were involved in that. The 11 truck was the one that caused that one. Unbelievable accident here on lap 50.
Yeah, that is definitely not something you want to be seeing. We'll get a replay queued up here to what the initial incident was, but coming out of turn 2, we had some slower cars in the back of the field get into each other. Went for a little spin through the infield, lots of heavy damage, and they just merged right back onto the racetrack, well over 100 miles an hour off pace. And riding on board with the number 2 earlier, just looking at what he saw, he only had about a half a second to react. There was no communication. The driver comes and just unfortunately tough break. You can't see the car coming. You don't know what's happening in front of you until the car's in front of you swerving or to avoid it, and you have nowhere to go but into the back of that slower traffic in front of you. Tough break, but it's just what it is. It's really unfortunate. Pit stops have been completed for a good chunk of the field. Everyone taking 4 tires, wanting the handling back in these machines.
And we've reached that halfway point. We'll give you that full field rundown here in just a moment, but we're watching that replay again of that wreck, and just unbelievable. And you talk about how tall these trucks are in the back end with these spoilers, and when you're right on the back bumper or something, you can't see anything in front of you. So unless your spotter's on cue and knows exactly what's going on or can see that way ahead of time, you really have no time to react. And exactly for Ricky Howell Jr. there in that 2 truck, by the time he saw it, he had nowhere to go.
No, absolutely not. And I guess it just comes to show who's running the live spotters and who is not. You got to believe there was a spotter earlier in the ears of that number 2. They would have told him you need to start moving high much earlier than that. But as you said, the back end of these vehicles is way too high. And the driver's eye alone with the automated iRacing spotter is not going to get you that kind of an incident. Really, really unfortunate situation.
So we approach that halfway point. We'll give you a full field rundown now as we cross the halfway point. The iRacing.com Midway Race Break brought to you by B&C Lawn and Landscaping Services, LLC, based in Frankfort, Delaware. Check out B&C for all your landscaping needs, including turf care, mulching, snow removal, and more. Professionally licensed and insured. Contact Aaron Bennett, 302-381-6073 for all inquiries. That's B&C Lawn and Landscaping, official partner of United Sim Racing. Right now, currently, the race leader, that's a 17 of Jamie Walker. He beats everybody off of pit road on our 3rd caution of the night. Aaron Bennett in that 33 B&C machine sits in that 2nd spot. Teammate in the 82, Chris Baines, sits 3rd. 4th is Jeff Ryan. Tom Dryerling runs in that 5th spot currently. 6th is Greg Malton Matthews. 7th, 8th is the 18 of Christopher Hurlow. Brian Cutts is 9th, and rounding out the top 10 is that 91 of Steve Gottschalk.
Ashton Crowder will be sitting in that 11th position. Paul Madison, 12th. Stephen Herring in the 13th position. Tyler Herring making the really good comeback along with Daniel Eberhardt. Excuse me, that name's a little bit of a tongue twister. They'll both be sitting on 14th and 15th position here so far as we reach that halfway point. Solicardi in 16th. James Thorndike 17th. Cody Gibson in 18th. J.R. Johnson riding 19th. And rounding up the top 20 is Terry Randolph.
21st spot currently is George Hendricks. Scott Simley is in the 22nd spot. 23rd goes to Todd Kirkwood. Brian Harvey sits 24th, last car on the lead lap. The 25th spot currently is that 3 of Keith Butt. Jason McDermott is in that 26th spot. 27th goes to Ricky Howell Jr. Eric Wortley, 2 laps down in 28th. The 29th spot right now is Paul Fugate. Michael Priester is 30th, 9 laps down, and the last car is Tommy Ryan in that 99. He's 47 laps down in 31st place. Well, that has been your iRacing Midway Race Break. For more information on the wide variety of racing possibilities on the web, visit iRacing.com. Sign up today. Well, we're halfway, Ian. Got tons of laps still left to do. Probably when we get the green flag here, we'll have about 46 laps to go here. That's at least one more pit stop for these guys, so we're not done with that. Maybe it'll be a green flag one. Maybe it won't. I think we jinxed them on that last one.
Yeah, for sure. The progress of this race is just the way it's been kind of shaping out. We're getting some pretty solid runs, but unfortunately, as these tires are wearing, it's proving to be an issue for several drivers, and it's just unfortunately causing some of the incidents that we're seeing. But it's a very tough condition to race out there. Believe me when I say that when these trucks get tight out of nowhere on you, it takes a really sharp heads-up mind to really avoid catching it into an incident there. It's just it's a tough break, but no one can deal with it. You know, everyone's got the exact thing underneath them. You gotta deal with it as you may. You know what I mean? So we're getting ready to restart here, just a little past the halfway point. And if we were already on go time earlier, we're kind of starting to see the end in sight for these drivers. I think if they can push the pedals down to 110%, they're gonna start doing it.
Start putting a hole through that floorboard, trying to get everything they can out of these things. But you talk about these things getting tight out of nowhere, and it literally is. The truck will be fine one time into turn number 1, and everything's fine in 1 and 2. You get down to turn number 3, and all of a sudden it just pushes up on you. So we'll keep an eye on that as the run obviously moves on. But the pace car about to head to the safety of pit road once again. This time, though, 17 of Jamie Walker is going to lead the field to the green flag. And there it is on the outside, Aaron Bennett. Not going to have any help from Tom Dreiling in that 06. The 82 of Chris Bain started 17th up to that 3rd spot. He's going to get on that back bumper of Jamie Walker. He's going to give him the advantage now back into 1.
Yeah, Chris Bain with a pretty good shove on the back of the 17 is going to start opening up a little bit of a gap, but that high side is starting to get formed together. Looks like we have the 06 and the 33 working pretty hard together to get it going, but that bottom side is very, very tight right now. That's going to be a really tough thing to overcome, but as I say that, see the 33 start making up a lot of ground down that back straight. He is now to the door of the leader, Jamie Walker, but as the 82 is actually kind of getting kind of loose on the bottom now, that's definitely going to break up that bottom side just a little bit. Here comes Aaron Bennett out of 4.
Yeah, that bobble by the 82 slows up the momentum on the bottom side. Aaron Bennett looks like he's going to lead this lap. If he does, it's not by much there at the stripe. A dead heat. Wow. We're going to give it to Jamie Walker right there. You have to go back to the 10,000ths of a second, and of course we don't get that luxury here on iRacing. So right there, it looks like a dead heat as far as we're concerned, as the top side still trying to get things going. And Tom Dreiling gets to that back bumper on the exit of turn number 2, gives them push now, still door to door for that race lead. A little bit of separation on that top side though. Tim Matthews trying to get up there to the 06. So far he hasn't been able to. That's going to kill that momentum on the top side. Jamie Walker now going to pull out back in front. Tom Dreiling, he's going to try it again, I think, here off of turn number 4, but the 82, he's going to try to keep that 17 to the top spot. He will on this lap right here. They're going to battle hard as they go down the 18 of Christopher Herlow. He jumps up to the top side. He fills in that gap that Tim Matthews wasn't able to close in, so move that 18 to that high side. He's been running that high line for the most part all night as well.
Yeah, every single one of these drivers up here in the top 4, top 5 are pushing it for all that it is worth right now. And you can't blame them. We have a really, really big prize. Wow, 17 will move right in front of the 33 down the back straightaway. That was as close as it gets. I've got to believe the 82 was probably on the radio saying it was really hot, as the 18 is looking to the inside of the 06, almost having a spin halfway through the pack. So many amazing bits of driving here in such a short course of time. Really good heads-up stuff. Wow.
About half a lap, we had about 3 or 4 trucks that should have wrecked. We had a couple other ones that couldn't decide which lane they were going in right there, and that just breaks everybody up right now. Kills the momentum pretty much of both lines, which will keep them about dead even right now. That 18 was the biggest probably loser of that whole ordeal right there. He's going to lose a few positions, now drop back down to that bottom side behind the 4 truck. Looks like the 19 there of Tyler Herr and the 90 of Daniel Eberhardt trying to work their way back up through the field here. They're working that bottom side currently right now just behind the 15 of Paul Madison. That's around that 10th spot right now as Jamie Walker tries to power back to the front. Looks like he's going to lead this lap with the help of Aaron Bennett in that 33. Give him that lap lead right here as they complete lap number 58.
It seems like every single time I try to bring up the prize that these drivers are fighting for, something happens out there and I get caught up. As once again, we almost have a very interesting situation into one, but I've been trying to bring this up for like the last 20 laps. Simlutions, esports, and simulator solutions, like they have an amazing prize. up here for these drivers here. The leading driver after 6 races in this series is getting a play seat courtesy of them. Like this, it's a really big prize. It's a very expensive piece of sim racing equipment that I'm sure these drivers would absolutely love to have as a piece of their sim rig back at home. So these guys, for these first couple of races, and you can see it reflecting in the racing right now, are going to be giving it absolutely every single bit of what the trucks are worth.
Wow, and you talk about Simlutions and simulation, the makers of everything you need for your rig and more. Esports Racing and Simulation Solutions. They've got you covered with news, builds, and more. Like them on Facebook at facebook.com/simsolutions. They're a provider of that prize you talked about, that Playseat Chassis for these drivers, and a proud sponsor of United Sim Racing Truck Series. That's a pretty cool thing. I hope they got one for us commentators up in the booth, too. That'd be pretty nice.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind taking one of those home. Nice little comfortable little lounge to sit on here so I can pretend like I'm out there racing with them and get into it even more. Absolutely love what they're doing for the community, and I really hope whoever wins that play seat is going to be quite thrilled with it. It's going to be an awesome piece to have.
It absolutely is. So it makes every win that much more important, especially in the first 6 races here. Is that last lap, Aaron Bennett led that lap by 13/100ths on the outside lane. He's got some more help from that 27 of Ashton Crowder, who's been up in the front all night long. He's been doing a real good job being able to push somebody, whether it's been on that top side or the bottom side, to the race lead to lead some laps. So that 27 truck, we're going to have to keep an eye on him throughout the night. He might be one of those sleeper guys to get the job done. Just look at the lap traffic on the high side there. Eberhard playing it close there on the high side. Finally ducks down in and misses the lap car there, but they missed him that time. But they didn't have such good luck about 10 laps ago.
Yeah, that was a very, very close call. Eberhard towards the back of the pack ended up almost running into the back of him, almost in the exact same way the two did. He ducked out of line, possibly make a move on that high side, and right there in front of him was a car 40 miles an hour off the pace, and he quickly had to duck that vehicle back to the inside. Another pretty close call. As we are working through this very tight bit of racing here through the midway portion of this race. But we got to go back towards the front of this pack. Looking at the guys who are still up here, many of these vehicles have been here for the entirety of this race, and that's really a good statement to have. It really shows that these guys know how to get it done here around Daytona, and they're going to be the ones to beat when it comes down to it. But just like that, I was talking about the guys who've been up front for the entirety of the race. Got to look back at Tim Matthews back in the 15th position. What happened to him?
Yeah, he just got caught on that outside lane and just could not suck back up to the draft. It caused him to push out of the. Oh, we got trouble. The 4 truck around.
Oh, that's
contact made. Hurlo's involved.
Tim Matthews in it.
Wow, a whole bunch of them. Tim Matthews in a 54 also involved right here on lap number 63. And wow, that was an amazing wreck right there. And we'll have to take a look at that one too as well. The 4 truck, as the replay comes up on your screen, and Brian Cutts involved in that one. Started in the 19th spot, been running up in the top 5 the majority of this race once he got underway, but looks like he got turned. Maybe a little bit of help on that one as well, but the 4 truck having some problems down the straightaway. And once again, I don't know, he got up to the back bumper, and then he just got a good shot by the 18 and then went down to the inside. It looks like he made contact with the 91 of Gottschalk, and as well, that just caused a chain reaction. Went back up the racetrack into the 18 of Chris Hurlo, and a tough break for many of those guys right now here in lap number 63.
If we can get a little bit of a wider angle on what happens, you can see how this all ended up happening. It kind of progressed on the exit of 2 as everyone really starting to tight up out of nowhere, and you just see the field really starting to accordion, and that's going to end up causing those checkups through the middle portion of the field. And actually, it's going to be caused by the front row. It looks like the 17 made a move really aggressively to get in front of the 33. Jamie Walker looking to block that line, and that really wound up the progress of everyone, and not everyone was able to get it checked up in time. That's just going to cause an incident way back in about the 6th or 7th car in line, thanks to just what you would call the accordion effect.
Yeah, the 17 made that move. It caused everybody to check up. The 4 had nowhere to go. He was going to run into the back of the car in front of him, and he ended up coming down the racetrack just a little bit to avoid that. Ended up making contact with the 91, came back up the racetrack. That's where it all happened out from there. But pit road's open again, and leaders heading back that way here on lap number 64, about to complete it as they go down pit road. Jamie Walker leading them all in, and you see those 2 B and C lawn and landscape trucks there right behind him in second and third. A pretty good showing for those two trucks, both starting outside the top 10.
And looks like everyone is going to come in and take their service. Lots of resets probably going to be used here on these pit stops as we have many damaged vehicles coming in. Looks like Daniel Eberhardt was involved in that one once again, and I think it might be time to get that reset taken care of on the machine, as he will indeed use that reset and rejoin with a fresh truck. Looks like the 19 of Tyler Hare will also finally use that reset as well. So I'm going to have my eyes on the back of this pack. Now, those two have been working together the whole entire time and making a lot of ground. With the damaged vehicles. Now they actually have clean cars. They're gonna be pretty stout and pretty feisty to get some moves done, I believe. Eberhardt actually comes out in fourth.
Yeah, Eberhardt's crew made a great job there on that pit stop, and that fresh reset got them all going up. And
yeah, fuel only.
Looks like no tires for him to get him some track position. He wants to get out of the middle of the pack there, and a good call for him here in the late stages of this one. About to be 35 laps to go when they cross the start-finish line here. We're going to take a quick break, though. We're going to step aside. You're watching the USR Truck Series presented by B&C Lawn and Landscape right here on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
The 2016 iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series is all about change. New teams, new drivers, new tracks, even a new logo. And oh yeah, there's a brand new car. After 5 years of competition, we say goodbye to the Williams FW31 and we say hello to the McLaren MP430. But this isn't just a brand new car, it's a whole new ballgame. And with it, we bring new excitement, new strategies, new technology. For example, energy recovery and drag reduction systems. There's a new way of thinking about racing, and for all the drivers participating, it's back to the drawing board, wiping the slate clean in the ever-consuming pursuit of perfection. One little slip-up, one wrong move on track, one poor strategy call, and it's over. That's the difference between coming up short and becoming champion and being $10,000 richer to boot. So yeah, change is in the air, but we're going to start getting answers on the 27th of February as the 7th year of iRacing World Championship competition kicks off. And you won't miss a thing, with every single race live on iRacing Live, coverage brought to you by Racebot TV. So join us fortnightly from 1:30 p.m. GMT.
Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway, LSRTV's coverage right here on iRacing Live, and a pretty good race going on. We just had a pretty good wreck there in the back straightaway, a little checkup from the front of the pack. Caused that top side to get a little close there, and the Ford truck makes some contact with the 91, came back up the racetrack. We have a bunch of guys using their resets. Here's the field on the back straightaway, gets double filed and ready to go again here. We'll take the green flag with about 33 laps left to go in this race, and we're getting down to that point, at this point anyway. I don't think they can make enough fuel. I really think there's got to be a splash and go here to get them to the end. I think they can go about 25 to 28 laps on a fuel run. So you're looking at least one more stop for these guys, Ian, but at the same time, I think the intensity is just beginning.
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely coming down to where they can for sure see the end in sight now. Just one quick pit stop remaining to get these vehicles to the end of this race. So it is definitely time to get going. Speaking of get going, Daniel Eberhardt on the outside of the front row now on that 90 machine uses reset, took no tires, and put the vehicle where it needs to be to get it done. Got to see how that car handles if this run goes to the later stages. Pace car takes it a hard left-hand turn to pit road. Green flag back in the air. Daniel gets a really good restart, but he's actually going to beat the leader to the line. I don't know if there's a rule in this league, but that was most definitely beating the leader to the line.
And we'll see what happens as this run goes on. He's going to bring that 39 truck with him as well. That's Salicardi now to that bottom side. And the two of them now going to take over the race lead on the corner, or on corner exit of turn number 2. Top side's got no help. They're about 5 cars back right now. That's the 33 and the 19 of Tyler Herr. And it looks like right now those two are going to have to try to make their way towards the front. Eberhardt leading the train now on the bottom side. They got about a 3 truck length lead over that top side now as they work their way off of turn number 4. Pretty big gap there right there after you get outside these top 10 guys or so here. A little bit of a gap back to that 59 of James Thorndike right now in that 11th spot. Kind of a interesting start we had there that last go around here. As they head back to turn number 1. Top side, they're starting to form up now. Herr's giving that pretty good push to the 33 truck right now. They're slowly, very slowly making their way up back towards the front.
And if you're Aaron Bennett right now, you're pretty happy to see Tyler in your mirror, because Tyler has proven, even with damage, he knows how to make moves. He knows how to position these trucks where they need to be to get up towards the front of this pack. And not just like that, as I'm mentioning it, they make up 2 car lengths down the back straightaway, almost back up to the door of Daniel as they enter 3, but bottom side still going to be the place to be to make the runs through the entry of the corners with these tires being as fresh as they are. Cars at this stage handling the best they will for the entirety of this fuel run.
That they are. He's made it up to that second spot now. So 33 battle side by side with Salicardi in that second spot. They're starting to get strung out right now, as you can see on the screen, and got kind of 2 little packs here. A little bit of separation. What these guys need to do here, especially led by the 82 of Chris Baines, is get single file to be able to catch this front group rather quickly, as Tyler Herr tries to get that 33 to the front, but just not enough help, not enough drafting help for him right now currently to do it. They try side drafting these guys down the back straightaway, but that's going to still kill the momentum as they enter turn number 3. And off turn number 4, Daniel Eberhardt took the lead on the restart. Hasn't looked back since. Now, as this time by, we'll have 30 to go.
Yeah, it does not appear that Eberhardt is going to be penalized for that start. There must have not been a rule on it, or a race control deemed that it wasn't that big of a gap. It looks like the inside line maybe didn't go as good as it possibly could there, as Daniel got on it nice and early. But as we were mentioning earlier, we hadn't talked much about the 39 there. That's Salicardi. He's actually starting to have some severe lag issues. He's linking in and out every once in a while, especially through the corner when they're tight like that. That's dangerous. He goes around. The back bumper was not solid thanks to the problems he was having. And just like that, he gets spun around, but he'll be down in the grass and the apron. No harm done, but the caution flag will actually be coming out now. Don't know what for. I think he was well off the racing surface. That was not an admin yellow, but fortunately for Sal, the caution's going to come out. He was parked sideways on the bus stop when the caution was triggered, so maybe he caught a lucky break there. That could have been his race right there.
That was interesting. So the caution does come out right here on lap number 71, and it's a solo spin, basically, with that right there at the cost of the bumper of Ashton Crowder there, as he got hooked up with Salicardi in the 39 truck, and those two end up just basically, because of the connection issues, that 27 got hooked on that 39's bumper, sent him spinning down in the infield. Doesn't look like too much damage on that truck, so with the caution, he should be able to get back in contention here at this one after another pit stop. We're real close to the point where if they come down this time, they might be able to make it the rest of the way. We'll have to see if these leaders do. They've only been on the racetrack for about 4 laps since the green flag dropped once again, so we'll have to see if they lead them back down. Aaron Bennett will do that as pit road will be open this time by. We'll see if all or some of these leaders do head down pit road, but we talk about 2 of those guys that fell back early. Look at them right now sitting second and third, Eberhardt and Tyler Herr. right now in the second and third spot as they come to the opening of pit road. It looks like some guys are at least pointing in that direction. It looks like they're all going to come down pit road. And I do believe that if they come down now, it must be that they can make it to the end from here. So we'll see possibly the last time these trucks make it down pit road as they all come down and slide into their boxes. Tyler Herr going to be one of the first ones to his box.
Yeah, nice, solid stop. Got into the box absolutely perfectly. Right sides are going to go up. Looks like they're going to take their tires as they can. Only right sides on a majority of the pack. 33, 19, 06, 90, 27, all with 2 tire stops.
Those 2 tire stops there, and a close one by all these drivers there. We'll have to see who gets where as they still try to sort it out off of the exit of pit road, but looks like the 06 of Tom Dryerling might have been the first one off pit road, and it looks like or maybe Jamie Walker there. Looks like maybe a fuel only for that 17. Tom Dryerling right behind him came out, and then it looks like third goes to Crowder in that 27. So this quite possibly could be our last caution of the night, could be the last pit stop of the night, but only time will tell. We'll take another quick break real quick here on LSRTV. You're watching the USR Truck Series, of course, right here on iRacing Live and LSRTV, the voice of sim racing. Welcome back here live to Daytona International Speedway, the USR Truck Series. Getting set to get ready to conclude the opening race of the season here, the Daytona 250, and we're working lap number 75. When they take the green flag, we'll only have 25 laps to go. Everybody just on pit road on that last caution. and I do believe that majority of these drivers can make it to the end on fuel. That just leaves some hard racing left on the plate here tonight, Ian, and I can't wait. I mean, when you know as a driver, that's it. There's no more strategy. It's just go, go, go. It changes the whole complexity of the race at this point.
You gotta believe we're gonna be seeing some really epic three-wide racing action now. The time is now. It is about that time where you gotta leave it all on the line. We have nothing else separating these cars and being able to make it to the finish. The only thing remaining from here is these 25 laps to that checkered flag. Pace car getting ready to turn in for hopefully the final time here at Daytona.
That it will now as it looks down to the safety of pit road once again. Jamie Walker going to lead the field to the green flag. Tom Dryling, a huge jump on the outside. Now that's I'm not sure what that is, but we'll keep an eye on that 6 truck right there on the outside. Him and Tyler Herr got a pretty good jump there on the outside lane. They have that 17 truck cleared as they head back into turn number 1. They will drop down to the inside there. We'll see if race control throws out any penalties or not, but for the time being, the top 4 single file. Back to 5th now. Steve Gottschalk on the outside. Eberhardt to the inside, and just ahead of them, the 17, Jamie Walker. He pushes to the outside. Here comes Gottschalk and the 82 of Chris Baines as they try to give him the push to get him to the race lead, though. Tom Jarling, he's going to lead him into turn number 3.
Yeah, you gotta believe Jamie Walker's just a little bit flustered about that start. He made his intentions very clear. Instantly jumped to that high side coming out of 2. He wants to get back to that point, which that was very much taken from his. Tyler is actually going to say, no, you're pushing me, good sir. Gets the shove from the 17, the 06, getting left on the bottom, but he will have help from that number 27 of Ashton Crowder. Ashton Crowder, one of the more solid contenders, been up towards the front for this whole entire race as well, along with a good chunk of your top 5. 82 car was making a really good late race run, but he is now currently stuck on that 3rd lane and dropping back. We'll find a hole, however, but got to go back up towards the front. We're now side by side for that lead position. As even 3 wide now, here comes the 18 through the middle.
Yeah, Christopher Earlo, that's twice now in the last half a lap or so. He's pushed the issue, gone towards the middle, trying to make it 3 wide, and basically over the radio, he's saying it's time to go as Steve Gottschalk gets pushed back another spot, loses some momentum. He'll go 3 wide again now with the 12 and the 59. Looking to his inside. That's going to lose him 2 more spots now, too, as Tyler Herr gets credit with that lap led there on lap number 77. They complete that and head back to turn number 1. Jamie Walker giving that 19 a pretty good push on the top side. And we'll see what happens as they exit turn number 2 as they try to continue that momentum down the back straightaway. And that top side not going to prevail as of yet. Tom Dryling getting a real good push from that 27 of Ashton Crowder. That bottom side is going to maintain it and keep it going right now as Eberhardt. Look at him, 3rd in line on the top side. You know he was going to be looking for that 19 of Tyler Herr to help him out. Well, they got a pretty good combatant right there with them, Jamie Walker, former Truck Series champion. And those guys, the 3 of them together right now, forcing the issue on the high side. That's going to put Tyler Herr back to the race lead right now as they head back to turn number 1. Not quite clear, but now Jamie Walker and Tyler Herr are able to clear that front spot. But they're going to leave their friend, I guess we'll call him, on the outside lane there. As Eberhardt now going to lead that outside lane. Here comes the 59 of James Thorndike to give him a push down the back straightaway.
I was just about to say, James Thorndike has just been on a charge. He's been going through the middle, and I don't know where he was. He was out of my picture a lap ago, and suddenly here he is in the top 6. I think he's decided, no, we're done riding around. It's time to go, and just like that, he puts that vehicle where it needs to be to possibly be in a position to take that win. But smart bit of driving up towards the front puts Jamie Walker back to the lead. He will now be in combat with his former partner there for his last couple of laps in Tyler Herr. This is getting exciting. We are just now working on 21 laps of racing action left to go.
Yeah, the laps start ticking away pretty quickly when you get to this point of the race, and that 19 and 90 have finally found each other, and I highly doubt you'll see the 2 of them leave each other's bumper the remainder of this race, unless some obvious other incidents may not cause them to be there. But if they can help it, I'm sure those 2 will be stuck to each other no matter which lane they end up being in. Christopher Herlo, 4th in line on that top side, did a good job getting up to Thorndike, but looks like he lost some momentum entering turn number 3. That's going to kill him on the corner exit right now. He's going to have to now look for some spots on the inside lane. As you can see, that inside lane still holding serve right now. Jamie Walker is lap traffic. like the 39 might have hit the wall there on the tri-oval right there, and that's Salicardi. And Salicardi, that's his second little incident he's had in the last probably about 10 laps or so right there. He was involved in that caution just 10 laps ago. So Salicardi continuing to have some issues. That time, last time by, he was sitting in that 15th spot, but he's going to lose a bunch of spots now.
Yeah, it's just time to race it out and drive for points at this point. Already uses reset, so he's not going to be back in this anytime soon. That car has seen many better days on the right-hand side of his vehicle. So, unfortunate bit of break, but, you know, still got a while to go. Can make up a couple more points. Just got to stick it out. Up towards the front of the pack. Looks like the bottom side is actually starting to form up now. Is looking like the whole entire 8 or 9 cars on the bottom now just looking to ride it out, but Tyler is saying otherwise as the 06 is going to get to the door. Tyler, there's context through the corner 2 as he will once again come up, and it's going to, oh, this is big, folks. Lots of vehicles that have been up towards the front of the pack and in contention for this win have been caught up in this one. I don't know if they have resets, but that just changed the face of this race in all but 3 seconds.
Yeah, it changed a lot right there. It looked like the 06 of Tom Dryerling came up into the 19 of Tyler Herr, and that's going to give us our 6th caution of the night right there. He possibly touched the apron there. We'll get the replay up to you on the screen now, and yeah, it looks like he just pushed up maybe right there into the corner and got into the 19, right into the side, and it almost looked like they were going to save it there, but on the corner exit, the 06 actually got into the 19 once again. Sent him spinning. A couple other trucks behind them involved, about 6 to 8 trucks involved in that one as well. So another big wreck here late in the going here, just at that 20 to go mark. So that's going to change everything now. Obviously, these guys can make it the rest of the way on fuel, so it'll be interesting to see if anybody decides to come down pit road or if it's pretty much just going to be ride it out from here and see what happens.
I think the only guys coming in pit road this time should be the guys looking to get their damage repaired, at least those who don't have the resets. Unfortunately, Tyler's reset was burnt from earlier after that last pit stop, so he's just going to have to deal with what he has. He took a really heavy shunt in the left front, so that is definitely not going to be doing his aerodynamics any good. But I got to give a shout out to the 27. Ashton Crowder made a very good save after getting to contact in his left rear corner at the start of that incident, and that could be the move that helps save your race, because I tell you what, I thought that car was going to be making a beeline for that inside wall at the angle he was going.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen some guys make some pretty good saves like theirs. Pit road is open, and we're actually going to see a bunch of them come down pit road all the way from the second spot. Daniel Eberhardt going to lead a big chunk of this field back to pit road and get some more service done. It looks like some of them probably maybe a little bit of damage. You can see that rear end of the 90 truck right there. It's got some waves in it, if you want to call it that. So he might be looking to get some of it fixed here on pit road, get some more tires, and just give it one last go here to the end. Jamie Walker, though, decided to stay out along with the 15 of Paul Madison. Looks like 7 total stayed out. The 18 of Christopher Herlow was one of them. A couple other ones there, the 58, I should say. Or the 98 of Steve Herring, he's out there at 54. Tim Matthews, again, stayed out as well. And a few other ones to be exact. But, yeah, so a little bit of a split decision there as far as what's more important, the tires or track position. And for some of those guys, obviously it was tires.
Yeah, I gotta believe, though, after seeing all the cars involved in that incident, it might have been a strategy call to take those tires anyway, thinking that not a lot of guys were going to be staying out after that incident. So, sure, you may have given up your 3rd or 4th place position, but you're only going to be restarting in the 9th position, and with probably around 13 laps of racing on fresh tires, that puts you in a pretty good spot to possibly make some moves on that 3rd lane, put the car where it needs to be to get through this field. They're definitely going to have the best handle on their vehicles. But through all of this, all of the chaos and all the calamity, Tim Matthews in that number 54, we saw him involved in an incident earlier, took one of his resets, was able to avoid that whole entire incident. He was one of the cars to beat earlier on in the race. He's actually going to be restarting towards the front of this pack with a fresh car.
Yeah, that'll be nice for that 54. Kind of a good rebound for him here late in the going. So Tim Matthews looking for some points here at the end of this race to try to keep himself up there, maybe possibly pull out a win here. But Jamie Walker just been pretty stout all night long, whether it's been on that bottom side, Ian, or the top side. He's been able to get it done, and he's figured out which lane's quicker at the right time, and he's made some aggressive moves and pulling up in front of that top line when they were coming. but it's worked out for him so far here, and definitely one of the guys to watch for not only this race, but all season long for the championship. We talked about how consistent he is week in and week out, and not one of those flashy drivers that's going to come out and win, 8-10 races a season, but he's one of those guys that, when you're out there pulling up a win and then you look at the points, you're like, oh, geez, the guy finished third again. He's just one of those guys that he's always up there no matter what. At the end of the race, he's there contending for a top 5 position. So not surprised to see him up front all night long like he has been, but he's definitely going to be a contender here towards the end of this race.
Yeah, Jamie Walker is definitely showing the mark of a very well-educated plate racer, and if that is the kind of mentality that he takes into all of his races, like doing the research, taking the practice, and doing what it takes to what your car needs to be the fastest car week in and week out, that just shows how hard he is going to be to beat here in this very long season. We got 30-plus races to run here through the entirety of the USR Truck Series. You got to believe that this is definitely going to be a statement race for him if he can bring it home. But as I mentioned earlier, like he's really good at working the lanes, putting the car where it needs to be when he needs to be there, and just he's looking very, very good. Really tough to beat.
Absolutely. Another one of those guys up in the front right now. Started 20th in the race right now, sits 5th. At least he will on this restart. The 7 of Cody Gibson. Been kind of quiet all night long. Haven't really talked about him. I think he was involved in one of those wrecks about midway through this race, but he's able to get the reset, use that to his advantage, get himself up when he needs to be. It's at the end of the race. This is when you need to be up towards the front, and that 7 of Cody Gibson is definitely where he needs to be at the time right now. A few of the guys up there in the top 10 that weren't there at the start of this race. Paul Madison at 15. He started 14th. He's up to that 2nd spot. We talked about Cody Gibson. Brian Cutts in that 4 truck having some issues. He was involved in an accident a couple cautions ago on lap 63. He's made his way back up to that 6th spot after starting 19th. And then, of course, Chris Baines in the 82 started 17th, and he's all the way up to 7. So a pretty good flip-flop right there. We got 4 drivers inside the top 10 that weren't there at the start of this race and hoping to stick there the rest of it and maybe possibly get an opportunity to win this one. The field going to jumble back up here and get side by side and get ready for this restart. That'll happen on lap number 87, and that'll give us 14 laps left to go when they take the green flag. And it's definitely at that point of crunch time, 14 laps. It goes by awfully quick here when you're running 195 miles an hour. So if you're going to go, you got to go now.
For the incidents that we have had here in the latter stages of this race, I'm looking through pretty much everybody out here in the top 15 even. And then with the exception of Cody Gibson's right front, almost every single one of these race trucks are actually looking pretty clean. So we have a lot more people who are still in contention that we may not have expected. So this could still be quite the interesting show here. It might have a bit of a bar burner finish here.
Absolutely, and we'll see how this restart actually unfolds. We've seen a couple of strange ones over the last couple times through here, and some good starts from the outside, and we'll see what happens here on this restart here as the pace car looks to the safety of pit road, possibly for the final time here tonight. Jamie Walker going to lead him back to the green flag, and he gets it as the top side gets a slow restart there. Jamie Walker going to be able to pull out ahead. He's going to bring that 18 of Christopher Herlow in tow right now, and by the time they get to turn number 1, there's no help for that 15 of Paul Madison on the top right now. Top 2 going to clear him as they head back into 1.
Paul Madison sleeping on the restart ever so slightly, and not being at the door of the leader on the restart already cost you a couple of spots, but he's going to fall into the hands of Tim Matthews. Tim Matthews, a very solid pusher out here on the racetrack, as looks like the 18 Christopher Herlow is going to shove it right in front of Paul Madison. He wants to be the leader of that outside lane, and he's going to get right up to the door of Jamie Walker, but as they enter the corner, Jamie with those fresh tires starting to pull a little bit of an advantage as they exit corner number 4.
Oh, big wreck in the back of the field right there. It looks like the 82, or no, excuse me, the 82's up towards the front. It was somebody else there in the back in a green truck that
Tyler is upside down.
Flat out 47, I think it was, involved in that one. And
wow,
man, what a huge hit in turn number 3 and 4 there, and a big caution here again on lap number 87. As the replay goes on your screen now, and it just looks like some contact with Everhard. Everhard trying to push him through the corner. 47 looked a little unstable, dropped down, came up, hooked the 90. The 90, the 19 was involved. A couple more trucks come into it as well. Another 8 truck crash right there in turn number 3 and 4, lap 87, as we just called.
Gonna be riding on board with Tyler Hers, number 19. He took a very wild ride in that incident. Somehow his onboard cameras managed to survive the entirety of that wreck, but end of the incident, you'll see him in the grass, spinning upside down through the grass like a top, but very heavy impact to the outside wall. At least 4 or 5 cars made a really sharp angle to the outside wall, and yep, that was a rough one. I'm not gonna lie. Watching the replay now, that was a wild ride.
It was a rough hit. You're talking heading into the wall head first at about 195 miles an hour. You're definitely going to make sure these guys get out of their trucks and they're able to walk after that one, I'll tell you that.
I think Tyler's going to need to take some medication to get rid of the dizziness after that one. I'm dizzy watching him. I'm not even on board of that number 19. Wow, that was a ride.
We got a nice little chat there. Problems for the 19 there. It turns 3 and 4, and Tyler Hurd giving a shout out to myself there. A nice guy that he is. At least he can keep his sense of humor after getting wrecked out like that.
I was looking down at the chat to see if he was going to start putting those messages up as he was wrecking. That would have been even more comical, but he did it after the fact. I just like, if he was upside down spinning as a top, you just see in chat, problems, Andy. Oh, goodness.
Yeah, he had a good view of it when it was happening and had nowhere to go. So, tough break for the 19 there, and the 90 as well was also involved. Obviously, went up the racetrack into those guys as well. So, it looks like those 2 trucks will probably be just about done for this night here. We'll call them.
Yeah, I think so.
We'll call them cooked.
Yeah, they've been on the stove just a little too long. Looks like it just came out of New Smyrna Speedway from a little while ago. The Napa 500 reran. Not many clean vehicles left by the end of that one, but he'll put his head up. He'll go out and he'll try to do his best to compete in the following races. It's a tough race, but you still have at least 30 more races to go. A lot of season left.
Tons of season. Obviously, the goal is to get into the top 12, like we talked about. Top 12 making on to the chase after, I believe it's 26 races. So we'll see how that goes. Race wins don't matter, though. It's kind of a different, interesting thing there. They're trying to promote. It's going to try to promote these guys to, race if they can every single race of the season. That's what's going to be able to put you up there in the top 12, and that way it promotes bigger fields throughout the season as well. So we'll see how it goes. Obviously, a summer season like this on a Saturday night, it's going to be tough to make all of them. I don't care who you are unless this is all you do. But I'm sure it's going to be tough. I know I can't make them all, so we'll hear probably a few different names here on the broadcast during the course of the summer. But so far tonight, I don't know. I really think that's 17. It's his race to lose at this point. He's got a couple other drivers, though, right there with him. Christopher Earlo is going to be tough to beat here as well towards the end of this thing here. So as they cross the line that time, we're going to have 11 laps to go. It's working lap number 90 here. Still single file. Lights are still on the pace car, so we'll go around at least one more time before we get that indication of 1 to go. And it's too early. We're not going to take another commercial. It's not worth it on this point. We don't want to make sure nothing breaks and we miss any of this action, you know.
So, at this point, since we do not have green-white checkers here in the iRacing service, we could very well be seeing what's coming down to the last 1 or 2 cautions towards the end of this thing, because a caution comes out lap 95 or later. That's it. That's the end of the race. They finish exactly where they are. So, realistically, these drivers need to think in their heads like they're racing to the beginning of lap 95, because that is the mark that you need to be at the very best place you could possibly be every single subsequent lap afterwards. Otherwise, you're done. It's just the way it is. I'm looking through this pack now. Inside the top 10, I think Jamie Walker's greatest competition is probably going to be an Ashton Crowder and Tim Matthews. They're a little far back right now, but those two have shown the knowledge that it takes to get towards the front of this pack when it really counts. Gotta believe those two are going to probably try working together and take it to Jamie here in the last 10 laps of racing at Daytona.
Yeah, one thing I'm actually kind of looking in my crystal ball right now, Ian, and trying to figure out this restart here. And I know our producer Cisco's having a blast with this one right now. But as I look at it, it might be a graphic we might have to put up here, Andy's crystal ball. But I'm thinking of this, that 7. He's got damage to that right front. He's on the outside. I have a feeling that outside lane is not going to get the jump that it really, I guess, needs to have here on this restart. So I'm looking for that 18 truck to kind of do what he did last time. He'll push that 17 out to the lead, but then I have a feeling you'll see him jump up in front of that 7 to try to regain control of that outside lane. And we'll see what happens here as the field's going to double up this time by 10 laps to go here under caution, 9 to go when we get the green flag. But that's kind of my that's what I'm seeing in my crystal ball right now.
No, that definitely sounds like that's what Christopher Hurlow needs to be doing here. But you're right. With that damage on the right side, I don't believe 7 leading a lane is going to do the lane that he is in any good whatsoever. So Christopher Hurlow, seeing the opportunity to get in front of the 7, I'm willing to bet you as well. I agree with you here. I believe that he is going to take that opportunity as absolutely fast as he can. Really curious to see what happens with the 7. We haven't seen enough high-speed laps to see if that truck actually has the speed. And he could surprise all of us and suddenly win this race. So
yeah,
we'll
absolutely.
see what ends up happening. I mean, Aces makes very amazing pieces of computing technology. I wouldn't be surprised if the sponsored truck does the same.
Oh, you're absolutely right. And we'll see what happens. I mean, you never know, but I really think that 7 truck's going to be a better pusher in the late going here. Maybe be able to make a run off of the corner, off turn number 4, coming to the checker maybe. But to actually lead a line and get some real decent speed, I think it's going to be real tough. Haven't really seen much of the 15 most of the night, so not sure exactly what he's going to do. But green flag back in the air, and we're racing again here at Daytona, and a pretty good jump there on the bottom side, just like I talked about. They're going to take the advantage into turn number 1, and that 18 of Tyler he's in the 19. He's out of this thing. The 18 of Christopher Hurlow going to be able to clear it out. Looks like almost 3 trucks now are going to clear that high side. As the 82 now, Chris Baines gets right up to the back bumper, and the top 3 now are pulled away as side by side for that 4th spot.
Christopher is faking like he's going to peak high, but you look to the mirror, the 7 car's just a little too far back right now. He's got to wait to see if he can close the gap, and just down the back straightaway, wow, that 7 has a lot of speed. I was not expecting that at all. He's actually making some half-decent progress on that high side as we're working through 3 and 4 now. Christopher Hurlow still glued onto the back of that 17. Got to look at Jamie to start making some defensive moves here. This is the time where you have to start driving out of your mirror. Your eyes are rarely looking out through your windshield at this point of the race. Very, very good defensive driving it's going to take to keep both these lanes behind you here.
It absolutely is. On the outside, though, that 7 truck is doing a pretty good job, but he's got a lot of help from Paul Madison there in that 15, plus some help from the 54 of Tim Matthews as well. But that bottom side, they're all locked up right now, bumper to bumper right now, and it's for the time being, at least, as the 82 gets a little loose down the back straightaway there. That's really going to separate that bottom lane, give that top side a little bit of momentum. Head into turn number 3. Jamie Walker holding serve, though, as your race leader. Here comes the 15 of Madison now to the back bumper of that 7 machine of Cody Gibson, and they're going to give him a pretty decent run to the start-finish line. Not going to be quite enough to lead that lap, but he's still showing that he may have what it takes to lead a line right now, as they're still side-by-side heading back into turn number 1 with 7 to go.
Gibson will gain a nose into 1. Jamie Walker will take that right back, but we got some really strong help on the top side. There's a little bit of a checkup for the 15 now. He's going to get shuffled to the high side. Looks like Tim Matthews will take it to the middle of 3. Tim Matthews trying to make that slow, methodical charge back to the front. 15 not having any of it, trying to block the run, but cannot do it through the grass. Looks like most of the vehicles are actually going to be sideways on the grass, though. Almost like Brian Cutts sideways on the track. He is going to keep it going. No caution. We are still racing it out. There they go in the back. They're going to be spinning onto the apron. Got to take a camera on that to see what's going to happen. Looks like
making a bold move to the bottom now as the 17 of Jamie Walker goes to the high side to catch up with Chris Baines. That's going to give Hurlow that bottom side front position. He's got that 27 of Ashton Crowder giving him some help right there. No caution on that last one. I'm really surprised, really fortunate, I guess, for these top 10 guys right now, as they'll be able to duke it out right now down the back straightaway. Christopher Hurlow losing the momentum currently in the 17 to Jamie Walker, trying to pull out to the race lead. He's going to hold a slight advantage back into turn number 3. Chris Baines all over his back bumper.
Yeah, that high side is starting to kind of fall apart here. That inside line is well composed. And just as I say, they kind of string out a little bit, but that high side definitely down on numbers as they hit the start-finish line this time. 5 laps of racing to go. If the caution comes out from this point on, This race is over. It is time to give it every single bit of what it is worth. You have to keep these vehicles up towards the front. Jamie Walker still working on the outside of Christopher Hurlow into 1. He'll have the better run through the middle of 1 and 2, possibly getting the run down the back straightaway, but just like that, the run is going to favor that inside line. Very close racing here with only 4.5 laps of racing left to go.
That's some great racing right there. Jamie Walker was unable to clear Christopher Hurlow on that bottom side. That'll keep them on the top side. They're going to still race door to door through 3 and 4. Slight advantage on the corner exit right now. Crowder trying to do everything he can to get that 18 truck to the race lead. Outside, though, hold and serve at the moment as they continue to run side by side. 4 to go this time by, and I don't think we'll see any of these guys really giving up too much here in the front of the pack. The problem is for everybody behind them, they just have nowhere to go at this point. They have to ride that line and just figure out which line maybe will possibly give them the best finish possible. The only other option is a 3 wide, and we know how that could turn out.
Well, at this point, you got to do it. This is the closing stages of the opening race of the season here at Daytona. If you have the hole, you take it. That's all there is to it. Is right now we have 3 wide in the middle of the pack. 39 gets stuck to the middle. 50, that's going to be really tight. Oh, they're going to go. Yes, that's going to be the Rex side by side up towards the front. Actually, no. They'll keep it straight. We're still racing. 3 laps of racing to go at the line. As there it is. The yellow flag is out. The race is over. Christopher Hurlow in that number 18 will be your winner here at the United
Yeah, I think that
Sim
18 is
Racing
going to
Truck
get
Series.
that. It looked like the 18 was ahead when the caution lights came on, and we'll have to wait and see how they line up here in just a moment. Jamie Walker continued the momentum, though, on the front straightaway. He did cross the line in front, but it is Christopher Hurlow. That looks like he is going to come out in with the win here tonight. Caution, though, on lap number 97. Try to get the replay up for you on lap number 97. It looks like the 39 of Accardi again involved. That's probably the third one here tonight. It looked like the car was warping because a couple of those other cars went like through him. So we thought that the caution wasn't going to come out, but he ended up coming back down the racetrack, and the 39 having some issues. And that'll bring out the last and final caution of the night on lap number 97. There's 3 to go. They'll come by this time. And Christopher Hurlow will pick up the 2 to go as we work our way under caution. Will not have a green-white checkered. And that's just what it is. And I'm not going to fly on that soapbox like I did last night because I got an evil letter from iRacing. So keep it clean now. So Christopher Hurlow, good job overall in the night. I really thought that him or the 17, they've been pretty tough to beat all night, Ian, and both of them running up in the top 5 for the majority of the night. And they've done a great job keeping the truck clean, staying out of any trouble. And they both gave themselves an opportunity to get the win here tonight. And a good job by that 18 truck to come home as the season opener winner. 2 to go as we work our way under caution.
Yeah, very well done by Christopher Hurlow. I need to go back to see that move he put on because I was actually looking towards the back of the pack when it happened. But that move that he put on Jamie Walker coming to the start finish line. Yeah, I'm watching it as he gets to the inside of the 17. Really good move to get to the inside of Jamie. The replay will be coming up here on LSRTV. While there is a yellow line rule here in the iRacing service and possibly in this league, it did look like the 18 did go below the yellow to complete the pass. However, he did get forced down by Jamie Walker, and I got to believe after official review, it would not stand that the 18 should get penalized for something like that for passing below the yellow. He was very much forced down there. So very good, clean, aggressive move all in all. Completely caught Jamie off guard. And just like that, that is going to be your Chevrolet race-winning move.
Yeah, a good move too by the 18 there, Christopher Hurlow, and kind of snookered him on that one. We'll call it that. So a good pass for him there. Just before the lap before the caution came out there on 96. So a good job by Christopher Hurlow. And I don't think they're going to hear anything about the yellow line there. Jamie Walker coming across the radio, congratulating him, saying he tried, he almost had him, and he did. It was a good race to the basically the yellow flag there at the end. So those two guys going to finish the top side. White flag will be out this time as they work their way off of turn number 4 and down into the tri-oval. A couple other guys there in the top 5 with good runs. Ashton Crowder, one of those in that 27 machine that was up there all night. He was one of those guys. We didn't talk much about it. He wasn't too bold or flashy in any moves that he made, but he was up there giving some good pushes to some of these guys. He led a couple laps as well for himself, so good run by that 27 to start up in the top 5 and the finish in the top 5. And how about that 82 truck starting 17th, and he comes home with a 4th place finish? That's a pretty good job by the 82.
Hey, I'm very impressed by Chris Baines there. He was one of the quiet guys up towards the front of the pack. He was there the whole entire time, which is, shout out to him. He may not have led a whole lot of laps out here or any at all, but he definitely knew that, this is what it took to get it done, and he was very good at working with people pushing where it really counted. So shout out to Chris Baines. Coming from the back of the pack to the front like that and surviving to the end of the race is not a very easy thing to do here at Daytona. We've seen how these go.
No, it's definitely not easy. Just to be consistent at a plate track, everyone at some point is going to have that issue where they're going to get caught in a wreck, somebody else's wreck, or even something, a mistake on their part that causes a big one, puts them out of it. It's very hard to be consistent at these tracks week in and week out every time you go to them. So to get a solid night like this for a starting position like that, or for any of these guys, honestly, to start this season off right here, get a good top 5, top 10 finish here in the season opening race, that's a good call by a lot of these guys. Even Cody Gibson, look at him sitting there in the 8th spot. He started 20th, so that's another one of those drivers. It's just a good solid night is what you want, especially to open the season up, and then you get yourself ready to head to the 1.5-mile tracks when they get set to head next Saturday night to Atlanta Motor Speedway, which will be an awesome one as well. So with that said, that's it. They're coming to the checker flag this time, and that 18 truck, Christopher Hurla, he's got to pick up his first win of the season in the USR Truck Series, and he does it here at Daytona in the Daytona 250.
Yep, Jamie Walker will come home in the 2nd position, Ashton Crowder 3rd, Chris Baines 4th, and Tim Matthews will round out the top 5. Honestly, all in all, the guys up front put on one heck of a show. It was very entertaining to see, and I couldn't be more pleased with the race we were seeing here for the entirety of this 100-lap event.
Yeah, it was a great job by all these guys in the trucks. We saw some 3-wide action, some crazy stuff all around. A lot of guys making some bold moves, pushing up into the front of that top, on that top line. We saw Jamie Walker do it at least 2 or 3 times there to get that momentum on the top side, and it worked out for him and able to keep it clean. But a good job by everybody involved, and a good win by that 18 truck here in the season opener. So we're going to take a quick step aside here, and when we come back, we'll talk to our top 3 finishers of the night here. You've been watching the USR Truck Series right here on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
The 2016 iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series is all about change. New teams, new drivers, new tracks, even a new logo. And oh yeah, there's a brand new car. After 5 years of competition, we say goodbye to the Williams FW31, and we say hello to the McLaren MP430. But this isn't just a brand new car, it's a whole new ballgame. And with it, we bring new excitement, new strategies, new technology. For example, energy recovery and drag reduction systems. There's a new way of thinking about racing, and for all the drivers participating, it's back to the drawing board, wiping the slate clean in the ever-consuming pursuit of perfection. One little slip-up, one wrong move on track, one poor strategy call, and it's over. That's the difference between coming up short and becoming champion, and being $10,000 richer to boot. So yeah, change is in the air, but we're going to start getting answers on the 27th of February as the 7th year of iRacing World Championship competition kicks off. And you won't miss a thing, with every single race live on iRacing Live, coverage brought to you by Racebot TV. So join us fortnightly from 1:30 p.m. GMT.
Welcome back here to Daytona International Speedway. We just concluded the USR Daytona 250. Christopher Hurlow coming up with the big win here tonight, and we'll take it through a full field rundown before we talk to our top three finishers. Christopher Hurlow, we will talk to him just moments away in victory lane, and Jamie Walker came home with that second spot. Third went to Ashton Crowder. Chris Baines came home in the fourth spot. Fifth went to Tim Matthews. Steve Gottschalk finished sixth. Seventh went to that 22 truck of Terry Randolph. Cody Gibson came home eighth. Ninth went to Jeff Ryan, and Paul Madison rounded out the top 10. '11th was the 37 of J.R. Johnson. George Hendricks came home 12th. 13th was Aaron Bennett. Scott Simley finished 14th. 15th went to the 98 of Steve Herring. Greg Mullen, the 12 truck, came home 16th. Last truck on the lead lap. First one lap down was the 4 of Brian Cutts. Brian Harvey finished 18th. Sal Accardi was 30 in the 39, finished 19th, and 20th was James Thorndike.
And it looks like the rest of the field, Tom Drilling, after that unfortunate bit of a wreck towards the latter portions of the race, around 20 laps to go or so, will find himself in the 21st position. 5 laps down, Eric Whitwell finished 22nd. Jason McDermott in 23rd. Todd Kirkwood in 24th. Daniel E. Erbhart in the 25th position. Tyler Hurst 26th. 27th to Keith Butt. 28th, Michael Priester. 29th will go to Ricky Howell Jr. And Paul Fugit will come home in the 30th position. Fugit will come home in the 30th position, and rounding out your field, which credits to this guy, by the way, Tommy Ryan, finishing 31st, sure, but he was out there riding for a good chunk of that back half of the race, trying to maximize points if at all possible, and almost got some, but unfortunately caught up in an accident.
And that was your full field rundown here for the USR Truck Series Daytona 250. We're going to send it now down pit road, and Ian Plash is caught up with our third place finisher. That's Ashton Crowder.
Yeah, down here on pit road with Ashton Crowder, driver of the number 27. And I got to give Ashton some credit there. Around 18 laps of racing to go. I got to tell you, that car was pitched sideways, headed for that inside wall. How did you hang on to that thing, and how was it handling after that near terrible incident towards the last portion of the race?
It was tough for sure, but I didn't take tires, and that really messed me up. But I somehow kept the car under control and got a third place finish.
Yeah, now you were pretty far back in the field for the last portion of the restart. I believe you were around like the 10th place position, maybe even 8th. That charge you made with Tim Matthews towards the end of the race, what did it take to get that vehicle up towards the front and finish this thing out where you did?
A lot of horsepower. But nah, I was just trying to push my way up there and almost blew the car up while in the process. But it was a truck, but it was a good truck overall, so can't thank USR enough.
Yeah, you did a really good job surviving the race here. There was a pretty chaotic end of this race, and you put the car exactly where it needed to be to survive and make it to the finish. Before we send it up a little bit to Jamie here, you have any shout-outs, sponsors, you name it, this is your time.
USR, Novo Nordisk, and that's about it.
Okay, well, that was your third place finisher, Ashton Crowder, driver of the number 27. Solid finish here at the end of the race. And just a little up ahead, I'm walking forward now, Jamie Walker in that number 17th will come home in second place. And I'm not going to lie, Jamie, man, I had you picked for this win. You had the dominant car all race long. For the majority of the race, you were really working the lanes and really just showing that you had the statement to get it done and beat this field.
Yeah, well, you know, with the class of some of these drivers that are out here, I mean, it's hard to come by with a win. I was just, trying to do everything I can to get up front and stay up front and get my one shot at a win, because it's going to be kind of hard the rest of the season for me.
Yeah. Now, coming out of 4 when Christopher Hurlow got your inside, did that kind of catch you off guard, or was that just like a really aggressive force move that you felt probably shouldn't have been done? Like I noticed you kind of drifted up the track a little bit, and it seemed to give him that tiny bit of a hole there, and it just kind of got stolen off from underneath you.
Well, that's how it is here in restrictor plates. You leave a little bit of a hole, they're going to take it. And unfortunately, I left it. I thought he was going to stay with me another lap, but he didn't. And he went under me, and he got to the bottom of me. So you know, it was just racing. I wasn't upset about that. I would have done the same thing if I had the room.
Yeah, well, really well driven race all the way through, Jamie. Very impressive performance you put on. It was quite the clinic and very entertaining to watch up at the front of the field. Before we send it down to Victory Lane, which Andy is just about caught up with Christopher Hurlow now, sponsors, shoutouts.
Of course, I want to thank the Mountain Dew crew, you guys for coming out, all the guys here at USR, anybody watching out there in the YouTube land. It's great for y'all to come out, and I know there's a couple of them that's been saying hi to me throughout the race, so just want to say hi to all them.
All right, well, that was your second place finisher. Jamie Walker gets it stolen out underneath him here at the very last second, but hey, that's Daytona. It's just the way it is. You got to be on your A game the whole entire time. You slip up for that 1 second, it is game over. I'm throwing it now down to Andy, who has caught up with a very excited and victorious Christopher Hurlow.
That's right. I am down here in Victory Lane, and not a bad way to start a season of the USR Truck Series. And Christopher Hurlow finds his way to Victory Lane under the caution flag here tonight, but he made that bold move with about 3 laps to go there off of turn number 4. And Christopher Hurlow, congratulations back to Victory Lane for you here on LSRTV, but first win of the season for the USR Trucks. A great way to start the season off.
Yeah, it really is a great way to start the season off. I just can't believe I won at Daytona. It just feels like redemption kind of from what happened last week. We're not going to go into that, but Daytona has not been very kind to me as of late, and finally got one.
Well, you were able to do that. You kind of, it looked like 17 kind of pushed up off the corner there a little bit, left you a little bit of hole. You took advantage of it immediately and were able to race side by side with him for a couple of laps. And then right there when the caution came out, you had about a quarter of a fender out in front of him, and it was enough to give you the victory here at Daytona. And it's a long season, 30-race season set to get off, and race number 1. Obviously, the wins, as far as their chase is concerned, doesn't mean anything. They're taking the top 12 in points, so obviously a win gives you maximum points here for this evening. That's a great way to start off the season and get yourself in a decent spot to maintain a top 12 here through the course of the season.
Yeah, it really is. We're just these next races we're going to look to be consistent like we usually are. We're never really that flashy. We try to race smart and get top fives, and we can win championships that way. So that's our plan going into the next races. But I mean, if I can get a win, I'll take it when I can get it.
Well, now that basically Daytona's over and speed weeks are over for all the races, we actually see you here on LSRTV, and now you can get out of this place, and Daytona is finally in the rearview mirror. You set your sights next Saturday night right here at Atlanta, and size up Atlanta. We know it obviously is a tough place as far as tire wear goes, but as far as a racetrack that these trucks put on a good show, and it's real fun to race these trucks on Atlanta. Size up that place as far as your consistency on a long run for yourself.
Oh man, I really love Atlanta. I like the tire fall off, and I like how you can move around on the racetrack. And I like running the top line. It's actually my favorite intermediate track. If you can get that bottom line going, the top line will have nothing. But in the longer run, the top line will come in. And so I'm really looking forward to going to Atlanta. I think we can go back to back with wins here.
Might be a pretty good way to start the season. And if that's your favorite mile and a half, then I think the rest of the field better watch out come next Saturday night. And Christopher, for you, Victory Lane here, opening season, sponsors, shout outs. Who helps you get that 18 truck to Victory Lane?
Man, I'd like to thank my wife for letting me do this. She's not selfish and lets me have the time that I need to do this. So this one's for her. I'd like to thank all the boys at Boomtown Sim back in the shop, and I know they have a race tomorrow or Monday night. I think Monday night in Atlanta, and we're not going to be a little part of that, but we're definitely going to watch, and I think that they'll win. I'd like to thank the person that painted my car, Mitch Rollo, and Corbin Hemstreet, Mitch Rollo, of course, Jared Como, Anthony DeBarro. I'd like to thank my mom and dad. I'd like to thank everybody here on LSRTV. You guys do an amazing job. I'd like to thank USR, Cody Gibson for letting me come over here and race, and Joel Hamilton for giving me the phone call from California all the way to West Virginia to invite me to race. It's an awesome league, and I really look forward to the next upcoming races.
We will look forward to you getting it done next week at Atlanta as well. So congratulations again on the first win of the season, and probably first of many as far as you're concerned and your chase for a championship here at USR. So congratulations. We'll see you next weekend at Atlanta.
All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
There you have it. Your winner here tonight at Daytona. And he talked about Daytona not being a friendly place for him over the last couple of weeks, and a little bit of redemption, like he said, to come home with the victory here tonight. So a pretty good piece of driving by him, a good move when he did it, because if he did stay behind Jamie Walker, then that caution came out, we'd be talking to Jamie Walker in victory lane. So a bold move, but a good move for that 18 truck to get himself the victory here in the season opener. And well, Ian, Daytona, I guess we can finally say it's out of our system here, at least for a while. But now we got to move on to Atlanta next Saturday night. And like I talked about with Christopher right there, that I'll tell you, Atlanta is just one of those places that just for always, it really doesn't matter what car you're in, but for the trucks, I love doing broadcasts there with the trucks, because it's so much fun to watch them with the tire wear and how these trucks, like he said, they can move up different lanes and try different things. And it just makes it real racy. And these trucks should have a lot of fun here next Saturday night.
Next Saturday night is going to be one heck of a show, and I promise you're not going to want to miss that. For anybody out here on YouTube land, definitely do tune in. Next time we get to Atlanta, the trucks, as you mentioned before, they race so well. Like the beginning of the runs, it's almost like a miniature super speedway. So another Daytona for at least 10 laps. And then as the run progresses, woo, Daytona again. But as the run progresses, yeah, that tire is, they get wore out pretty quickly. It's a very abrasive surface at Atlanta, and it's usually pretty hot out on that racetrack as well. So they're going to be slipping and sliding. They're going to be using multiple lanes and searching for every little bit of grip they can get. I'm definitely looking forward to that race next week. But I'm with you. I am so glad we can finally put Daytona in the rearview mirror and move on.
Oh, you're absolutely right. But before we go, we got to throw a little shout out to some of our friends out there to help get it done here at LSRTV, and of course with the United Sim Racing. So that, of course, is the BNC Lawn and Landscaping Service LLC, based in Frankfort, Delaware. Check out BNC for all your landscape needs, including turf care, mulching, snow removal, and more. Professional licensed and insured. Contact Aaron Bennett at 302-381-6073 for all your inquiries. That's BNC Lawn and Landscaping, official partner of United Sim Racing. And, of course, Simlutions, Simulation Solutions, makers of everything you need for your rig and more. S-Sports Racing and Simulation Solutions, Simlutions, has got you covered with news, builds, and more. Like them on Facebook at facebook.com/Simlutions. Simlutions is the provider of the prize for the Playseat Chassis these drivers are racing for, and proud sponsor of the United Sim Racing Truck Series. Also want to give a shout out, obviously, to the United Sim Racing. You can visit them for more information on the league at unitedsimracing.com, and on Facebook at facebook.com/United Sim Racing. And of course, stay up to date with everything on LSRTV, including tomorrow night. We head to Atlanta for the Ascors Pro Geek Consulting Cup Series right here Sunday night at 9 p.m. You can see all that and all the schedules right there on livesimracing.com, and of course on facebook.com/livesimracingtv. So until next time, on behalf of everyone here at LSRTV and on behalf of our broadcast team tonight, myself, Andy Kessler, Ian Plash, and producer Cisco Scaramuza, we want to congratulate Christopher Hurlow as tonight's winner in the USR Daytona 250. Good night from Daytona, and we'll see you next Saturday night from Atlanta right here on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.